and hear what I'm saying now. Spread your love.
Oh yes, Vooka Nation live and alive. Once again, welcome to another exciting episode of the Vooka Breakfast Show. And yes, if you have not been told, it is a Tuesday morning. So Vooka Nation, it's time to wake up. Not only wake up to your dreams, but wake up to this wonderful dose of positivity that we're going to be giving you. Starting on a high and energetic note is what we are going to be doing this day. Yes, it is Tuesday. What is it that you're choosing? And also we're going to be looking into the decisions that we have taken that have shaped our lives to become the people that we are today. So the conversations are going to be also about personal finance, because when it comes to Tuesday, we never leave you behind when it comes to your finances. And it is a new month. Happy new month. Hashtag a new week. Hashtag a new month. Everything is new on the horizon. So we know when you talk about new things, we're looking forward to what this month of July has for us. All you need to do is to stay tuned with us and just keep updated with the notifications that we're going to be sending and the posts that we're going to be sending on our social media platforms. So connect with us throughout our social media platforms. We are Vooka Breakfast Show, and on this beautiful morning, we are obviously going to never cease to amaze you. My name is Moketi Maiman, and I am happy to be with you. So just stay tuned. We are live right now on YouTube, and you can follow us on through our social media platforms. And if you want to dial us in or send us your voice note, to the number to do that is 060-493-3226. 060-493-3226. And you know, on every morning, man, we give you what we call picture of the day. You see pictures behind me and you're asking yourself, where is this? So today we have Nizamiye Mosque. Nizamiye Mosque, located right here in Midrand, Gauteng, is the largest mosque in the southern hemisphere and a striking example of Ottoman-inspired architecture. Completed in 2012, its design was modeled after the 16th century Selimiye Mosque in Turkey, featuring a grand central dome, 4 towering minarets, and intricate Turkish tilework and calligraphy. The mosque can accommodate up to 6,000 worshippers and was funded by Turkish businessman Ali Katriguli, who envisioned it as a symbol of a cultural and spiritual connection between Turkey and South Africa. Beyond its religious function, the mosque is part of the Nizamiye complex, a vibrant community hub that includes a school, clinic, bazaar, and a conference hall. Visitors can explore the beautifully landscaped grounds, enjoy traditional Turkish cuisine, and take guided tours that promote interfaith dialogue and cultural exchange. The complex serves as a beacon of education, healthcare, and social cohesion, making it not just a place of worship but a cornerstone of a community life. One of the questions that will be asked is, have you seen the Nizamiye Mosque in Midrand? It looks like it was teleported straight from Istanbul. Fact is, it is the biggest mosque in the southern hemisphere, and Ottoman design, absolutely breathtaking. But it's more than just a pretty building. There's a school, a clinic, even a Turkish bazaar, proper community vibes that you can get there. And the food, yo man, the Turkish cuisine will have you planning your next visit before you even leave. So whether you're there for the architecture, the culture, or just a lekker meal, Nizamiye is a must-see gem in Midrand. If you want to get there, we've got something special for you, which is the Tswelepele tours, which can just get you there and enhance your traveling experience together with your friends and families. All I need you to do is to buckle up and check this out.
Escape the ordinary and discover the extraordinary with Tswelepele tours. Whether you're a group of friends or a family looking for a memorable getaway, Tswelepele Tours has you covered. Our all-inclusive tours take you to South Africa's most stunning destinations, from the scenic beauty of Mpumalanga to the vibrant life of Gauteng and the coastal charm of Durban.
I just hope that was helpful for you to get there. All you need to do, man, is to dial those numbers right there. For the numbers belong to Khotso. He's the one, just being involved with the Tswelopele tours. So right now, speaking of what we have in our menu, because we've got a jam-packed show for today. So in today's guest, on this wonderful Tuesday, we will be having Thulisile Mkidi, a certified coach and a general manager at Novalo Learning Center. Very passionate individual and always willing to teach. It's a conversation you do not want to miss right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show. Another interesting guest that will be joining us is still the speaker, a man whose dynamic voice in leadership, strategy, and personal development with roots in human resources, education, and psychology, Step blends the corporate insights and the community passion to ignite growth and transformation across the sectors. If you want to learn more about being a strategist, I guess a conversation, this one is meant for you. A South African-born activist, artist, filmmaker, journalist, and a social entrepreneur, all-rounder, having worked in the Southern African media landscape between 2008 and 2015, mostly be broadcaster and multimedia producer and a reporter. So stay tuned for that one. For now, let's head over to your weather, followed by news and sports headlines. All right, that was your weather update. Now let's keep you updated with your latest news and sports headlines. Starting off with your first headliner, Outer supports progress in Transnet corruption case. 4 former Transnet executives, Brian Molefe, Siyabonga Gama, Arnold Singh, and Thamsanqa Nqatjiyane, have been granted bail of 50,000 rand each. They are charged with fraud and corruption of over 93 million rand locomotive deal cited in state capture findings. The matter returns to court on the 6th of October. Outer has welcomed the progress. On the next headline, Gauteng launches large-scale rehabilitation campaign. Gauteng is intensifying efforts against addiction, offering free rehab to hundreds of young people from disadvantaged areas in Heidelberg. This follows Premier Panyaza Lesufi's pledge to expand access to treatment, but with over 34,000 still on the waiting list, concerns remains about the system capacity and long-term impact. On the next headline, plant damage shuts NMB Beach for a year. Brighton Beach and Nelson Mandela Bay remain closed due to persistent E. coli contamination. First detected in December, the municipality cites ongoing repairs at the freshwater treatment works as a key delay. Frustrated residents await progress, while officials urge patients, stressing the beach is still unsafe for public use. That's all for your news headlines. Now let's head over to your sports news. Starting over with rugby news. Italy's growing stature has a box on high alert ahead of Loftus showdown. Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus will name his matchday squad on today for Saturday's clash, following focused preparations on scrummaging fundamentals and player conditioning. Emphasizing real game techniques over machine drills, the coaching staff aimed to improve scrummaging quality across the board. The upcoming match is part of South Africa's build-up to the Castle Lager incoming series, with Erasmus expected to blend experience and new talent in his selection. Now, on your tennis news, Medvedev suffers a shock first round Wimbledon exit. World number 64 Benjamin Bonzi stunned 9th seed Denis Medvedev 7-6, 3-6, 6-2 in the Wimbledon first round, claiming his first top 10 win at the Grand Slam. Medvedev, a former US Open champion, failed to reach the second round at SW19 for the first time in 7 appearances. Bonzi, who ended a 6-match losing streak on grass, will face Jordan Thompson next. Elsewhere, Stefanos Tsitsipas retired injured while trailing French qualifier Valentine Roya. Now heading over to your women football news, 5 key players for Banyana Banyana at WAFCON. Veteran forward Jermaine Sioposenwe will play half-final tournament for Banyana Banyana at WAFCON 2025, bringing 15 years of experience and over 100 caps. Hilda Magaiya, the 2022 WAFCON final hero, remains a key goal threat. Kaylin Swart, likely to start in the goal, offers composure and shot-stopping ability. Captain Refilo Jane returns from injury to anchor the midfield, while Linda Motlhalo brings creativity and international flair. Despite missing key players like Thembi Kgatlana, Banyana Banyana experienced core will be vital as they begin their title defense against Ghana on the 7th of July. That's all for now. Stay tuned for more sports and news updates throughout the show. Don't forget to share your thoughts on these headlines with us on social media using the hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show, and send us your voice note on 060-493-3226. Now, let's get you safer on those roads with your latest traffic update. The first traffic update is stationary vehicle on N1 southbound after the 14th Avenue. The left lane is closed, so drive carefully. There is a reported crash on the R21 southbound before Nelmapia's drive. The left shoulder is closed, drive carefully. That's all we have for you for traffic. If you happen to be on the road, do make sure to share your traffic update using the hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show, or send your voice note on 060-493-3226. Now, it is a beautiful Tuesday morning, the 1st of July, and it is a new month. Let's just give you that daily dose of positivity. All I need you to do is to just stay there, stay warm, grab a cup of coffee, and don't go anywhere.
Hey family.
Hi.
My name is Tisiga Mazbugo Shabalala.
My name is Muketi Maimane.
My name is Musi Miss.
My name is Ketua Ketumgunu.
On the Vooka
Breakfast Show.
Every weekdays from 7 a.m.
to 10 a.m.
This is where we are going to have our topical discussion featuring various experts from different fields.
We're going to take care of you, and it's going to be amazing, man. Right now, I'm on the set of the Vooka Breakfast Show, brought to you by the Blink-On Network.
Do not forget to subscribe.
That's Vooka Breakfast Show on Facebook and all other social media platforms.
Vooka.
See you there.
This is Ted, the Wild Irish Comedian. You're watching Vooka Breakfast Show. Tune in every morning, Monday to Friday.
It's still a wonderful and a beautiful Tuesday morning right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show. And the time, I don't know, is... We're good? Oh, yeah. 17 minutes, 18 minutes past 7. It is the time, Vooka Nation, and you are watching the Vooka Breakfast Show. You know, man, that is your energetic starter to your day, accompanied by that daily dose of positivity. It is a Tuesday morning. The first question you need to ask yourself is, what are you choosing today? I know a lot of you will be choosing your loved ones, will be choosing yourselves, but the most important thing is choosing the decisions that will make you a better person tomorrow. So we're going to be having a very good jam-packed show for today, as we're going to be staying blessed and staying warm on this cold morning. It is the 1st of July, and of course, man, we need to be looking into the plans ahead of the month. What plans do we have for this month of July, and what does July signify for you? My name is Moketi Maimane, and yes, it is a wonderful, very good morning to you once again. Right, located right here in the heart of Johannesburg, it is Soweto, Dobsonville. That is where we are streaming live. All I need you to do is to use the hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show. Hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show is the hashtag that you need to use with us right here. Right, so I see right there, we still have some people joining in, and while we are still joining in, just make sure that you have your cup of coffee warmed up right there in front of you, so that we can have a very wonderful and of course exciting positive conversations right here, because one of the things, beautiful people, is this day is another chance to take one step closer to the person you are destined to become. And today, let's talk about something that is very powerful, something that means a lot, something that is we use it each and every day of our life. It's known as one of the things that whenever you have it, it is powerful, and it can change also your life, and it can also change how you choose to see life, which is money, right? Not just earning it, but how we manage it, how we spend it, and most importantly, how the decisions we make with it shape our entire journey. Remember, on this Tuesday, it's all about personal finance. And personal finance is not only speaking about the money that you're spending, right? It's not about just numbers. It's not about just budget or bank accounts. It's about discipline. It's about direction and dreaming responsibly. So these are one of the things that we need to consider each and every time when we look deeper into the finances, right? Every time you choose to save instead of spending, right? Invest instead of impressing. You are shaping a future you can be proud of. It is a thing that you need to think about it on this morning. Each and every time when you wake up, when you have that little money that you have, you're always thinking about buying something fleshy. But have you ever thought about, how is next week going to look like when you spend that money? One of the things about speaking about money is a sensitive topic, especially on our communities. Not only communities, but black communities as a whole. So that is why we are here, and we need to help each other into, what are some of the experiences that we have went through that involves money? Because there are a lot of people who have money but don't know how to spend it, right? Are you someone who is financially sensitive? Are you someone who always calculate each and every cent that they spend so that they can track the record spending, right? So the decision to budget to your salary, to say no to unnecessary debts, to learn about financial literacy, that's self-respect in action. That's a long-term vision over short-term pleasure. Even the small moves, packing lunch instead of buying out, walking instead of Ubering. Because when you speak about Ubering, I caught myself, in a situation this, Saturday, right? So what happened was, each and every time I just got used to Ubering, it's right here at my tip of my fingers. Our phones are just right here on the tip of our fingers, and we always think that, no, man, I can just always request and come back. But when you think about it, sometimes it's necessary to save that money, because if it's a walking distance, walk. It's as simple as that. Just walk. because it also includes you saving that money. That money, you can use it as an emergency. That money, you can use it to help someone who needs it more than you. Sometimes you just have a lot of money to a point that when people come, they need assistance, and you are the someone that can be of assistance, right? So it's things like these that we need to also speak about, because money requires to be disciplined, and discipline is something that you build over time. Are you that person who is disciplined when it comes to your finances, when it comes to saving money, right? It is Tuesday. What are you choosing? And as the Vooka Breakfast Show, we always choose you to be responsible with each and every decision that you take in your life. Talk to us 0604933226 0604933226. That is the number that you need to call us at, or send us your voice note, right? And also right there on YouTube, you can use the hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show. We are live on YouTube. Let's talk. Today is all about positivity. It's still the beginning of the week, and of course a new month. I know for some it feels like it's going to be a long month, as it's starting to begin, right? So I have Tembimli right there on YouTube saying, have a very good morning, team. Hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show. Hashtag Sivugile on a Tuesday morning. Hashtag Happy Tuesday, Vooka Nation. Be warm and stay blessed. Staying blessed is one of the things that we always need to do up until we end this year. 2025 is all about blessing. 2025 is all about positive vibes. It's all about chasing and improving your goals, just to become that person that you always want to become, right? She also say, I am choosing, hashtag I am choosing Vooka team on a new month of July. Hashtag happy new month. Come on. Right, that's what we do, man. That's what we do right here in terms of choosing. I know that sometimes choosing doesn't need you to become someone who is impulsive, end up choosing some of the things and decisions that you're going to be regretting in, next week or the next day or the next minute. Because remember, we always wake up with daily decisions that we need to make, right? And one of those decisions for today, we're going to be speaking about personal finance. As we have, personal advisors, financial advisors that have came through the show to tell us about how we can navigate, our lives through our finances that we come across. Budgeting, some of the terms that you've never heard of, like your investing. How does investing work? It's as simple as just doing that research, just to get that minimum information that can help you get through, right? So saying no to unnecessary debt, to learn about financial literacy, that is self-respect in action. That's a long-term vision over short-term pleasure. We know sometimes when you have money, you're just thinking about that short-term pleasure to a point that when it passes, now you start to have regrets. So these are some of the things that we needed to avoid at all costs. Avoid them at all costs, because you are bound to be fragmented when you find yourself doing those impulsive decisions. Right? Even the small moves, guys, packing lunch instead of buying out, right? Because every financial decision is a building block. You are not just buying things, you are buying habits. You are not just saving rents, you are saving your future, right? Because sometimes they define it as whatever that you buy defines who you are. When you like buying expensive cars, you're someone who loves to flash things in front of people. Whenever you like to buy expensive clothes, you are that person. There are terms, especially kasi terms, to say, lo, put madlisa in Pretoria, baba bitsa magotsomela. Those guys who always spend money in clubs, going all out and making sure that they are there to impress. Everything you do it to impress. It is something that is habitual. It's a habit that you build over and over as time goes on. So,
becoming financial sensitive is something that you need to become, right? And as the Vooka Nation, it's something that we are encouraging you to become, because in this economy that we are living in, it's tough. It's something that we don't need to shy away from, but you can make a lot with the little that you have. It doesn't mean there's no hope when you have a 50 rand, because one of the things about living ekasi is, man, ukuthi when it comes to the real talk about money, chelete, imali, your money moves, man. We know how to stretch a 20 rand like a 200 rand. But here's the thing, man. It's not about how much we have. It's about how you handle it. Whether it's a 20 rand, it's a 50 rand, it's a 200 rand. It's about how you handle that money. That is the conversation we are having right now. Just handling your finances in a proper manner, in a way that you will also be invested in it. It's a habit that you build when time goes, right? Vukuzenzele. Those are the slogans that speak to the people who are saying, you know what, we are hustling. We are making sure that each and everything, that we do, in the smallest things that we do, because it's the smallest things that make the great impact in our lives, right? So the decision we make with our money, they shape the lives we live tomorrow. So one would ask you, what is it that you would like to spend your money on at this time? In this economy, because there was a trend and a video that I came across of this woman showing us the difference between a grocery she bought 10 years ago that costed 1,000 rand to today with groceries that, cost 1,000. They would not even fill this table. That's how bad, it has became. But we need to be financially creative with what we have, looking into now, lowering your standards, not to say lowering your standards, but knowing how to spend right with your money. Because back then you used to, when you do groceries, you used to buy sweets, you used to buy those soft drinks. A lot of them will be packed in your truly, right? So every time you choose to save instead of blowing it on vibes, you won't remember the next week. You are building your future. When you say, hi, bo, I'm not swiping that card today, you are saying yes to peace of mind and no to stress next month. I know there are a lot of people who had a lot of stress when it comes to their finances, right? I know a lot of people who are like, you know what? It's money, man. We are here, YOLO. It's been a long time since I had someone using the word YOLO. You only live once, because they see it's tough. It's tough and it's difficult, and you can't navigate throughout even your day, even your week. Right there, I see Nelly Somni coming through saying hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show. Good morning, Sivugile, and a happy Tuesday, of course. Happy Tuesday to everyone, and happy Tuesday to you, Nelisa. And then she comes through again and say, I need financial school because I'm about living in a moment, and it's not okay. Living in a moment is okay, but it's all about how you do it. Are you making it a habit? Are you making it something that you always live by, to say, okay, even if you get 300,000, you're going to live in a moment with that 300,000, to say, you know what, you're just going to blow it before 3 days ends, right? That's why we have investment, Money Investment 101, the one by Osvaldo, right, at the Vooka Academy, where he's just going to teach you about investment and how to use your money efficiently. Right? We're not just coming up with these things and just leaving you hanging. If you need financial school, we have you covered right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show. So you just need to stay tuned. We'll give you all of the information that you need, right? So all I need you to do is just to stay tuned, because right now I just want you, to show you, yeah. Okay, we have the website, right, that I'm going to show you right now, because you need it. It's Academy. Yes, there we go. Academy.vooka. Vooka.co.za. it's nice when you speak about these things, but we also need to have solutions, right? There we go. So right here, the available courses on Vooka Academy, if you're watching Nelly, it's right there. So the available courses is Smart Money Management 101, as you can see right there in your screen. Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Welcome to Smart Money Management 101, an empowering course designed to equip you with essential knowledge and skills to manage your finances effectively. In this comprehensive course, we will explore the 6 key cycles of money, which is assets, income, savings, investments, liabilities, and expenses. You will learn to differentiate between short-term and long-term debt and understand their impact on your financial health. It will also delve into the calculation of your personal net worth using the formula net worth, assets, and liabilities. Beyond understanding your current financial standing, this course will guide you into determining your financial freedom number, providing you with a clear target for achieving financial independence. Our budgeting module will introduce you to the practical strategies and tools, including Excel spreadsheets, to help you prioritize investing and saving before managing expenses. By the end of this course, you will have a solid foundation in budgeting techniques and a strategic approach to personal finance. Join us, man, as we embark on a journey towards financial literacy and independence. Smart Money Management 101 is not just a course, it is an investment to your future. The investment that we're speaking about today on this beautiful Tuesday. As you know, that Tuesday are always we always do personal finances, right? We are choosing our habits. We are choosing how we want to spend our money, right? Hence, we always had guests who joined us right here just to tell us about, okay, we see the spending habits of South African citizens out there, and most of their money, this is where it goes. Now, how can we shift it? How can we now change that whole narrative of, how people change their money? How people spend their money, so if you are someone who is like that, Nelly, don't worry, we've got you covered right here. Financial school is what we have for you right here. So, and then, of course, man, when you go into the course, these are the things that you're going to come across. This is what you call the Smart Money Management 101. There's an introduction. There is a disclaimer that you will go through, the objectives that you're going to go through, and also there is the bios, right? So right here, when you go into the disclaimer, it will tell you that the information provided in this course is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. While every effort has been made to ensure accuracy, participants should consult with a qualified financial professional before making any financial decisions. The course creators and instructors are not responsible for any financial outcomes resulting from the application of the concepts discussed. Right. So when you go into it, that is where you're going to get all of the, information.
Hi, the name is Osvaldo Antonio Nyaka, and I am with and welcome to Smart Money Management
101.
As I said before, the name is Osvaldo Antonio Nyaka, and I'm a human behavior researcher, and I'm with my co-facilitator,
An international radio host.
Yeah, so I just hope that was helpful. So if you go into the course yourself, that is what you are going to get, right? The disclaimer. And now going into the objectives right here of, the course itself, because we all need that financial education in our lives. And speaking of the financial education that we need, in our lives is, these objectives, which to grasp the 6 essential financial pillars, which is the assets, income, savings, investments, liabilities, and expenses. Distinguish between short and long-term debt, and calculate your net worth. In which I see this one as a very important one, because we always have, been asked on general knowledge questions that, What is the net worth of Elon Musk? What is the net worth of Mark Zuckerberg? What is the net worth of Warren Buffett? One of the, richest and wealthiest guys in the planet. So this will also calculate, and give you your net worth when you use it, in a proper way. So all you need to do is to come here and just read everything, go through everything, but we're going to also help you on how to go through it right here, right? You're going to calculate your net worth with net worth equals to assets and minus liabilities. Right. So, and also moving on, you're going to find your financial freedom number using the monthly lifestyle, which is calculated up to 12 months, right? And your ROI, which is your return on investment percentage minus the inflations. So the Excel in budgeting with a spreadsheet prioritizes investment and savings before the expenses. So on the Smart Management 101 objectives, when you go through the course, that is what you're going to see. You're going to understand money cycles, recognize the difference between assets and liabilities, which is something a lot of people are still struggling with till today. Struggling to find and define between assets and liabilities. You're also going to master income sources. You're also going to develop strong saving habits. You're going to gain investment knowledge, manage expenses wisely, and handle your debt responsibly. Also, lastly, we give you what we call budgeting like a pro. Utilize budgeting tools and techniques to allocate funds effectively, prioritize savings and investment, and maintain financial discipline. This is what the Vooka Academy will offer for a lot of people. Every Tuesday, we are dedicated into giving you tips about personal finances, right? Because man, it's not only about the people in corporate. No, it's about you. Even if you have $20, even if you're not working, smart money management will help you to also plan for your future financial goals, right? The Kasi Life teaches you to hustle, but it must also teach you discipline when it comes to spending your money. Being financially smart, it's not boring. It's powerful. It means you're the one calling the shots in your life, not loans, not pressure, not debt. Let us stop flexing for grams and start flexing with real assets. Yes, you can post on your Instagram that this is where you've went. But now, when you start flexing about your real assets, when you start flexing about those multiple streams of income we always see, we always, hear about when we watch videos on TikTok or YouTube and all other social media platforms, right? We don't have to, flex about, going to a vacation, man. How is it powerful? By flexing with going into a vacation and then next month you don't have the money that you need, right? So paid off accounts, growing savings, side hustles that turn into businesses is what we want to see, especially right here in our townships. Even if it's just a 50 rand a week into your savings jar, man, that is a very powerful move. Trust me. Don't let pressure from the streets mess with your peace. Stay focused, Mjita. Sister Lami, stay focused, right? Stay planning, cause here's the truth, right here in our townships. We don't just survive. We build, we grow, and we own things. That is why when it comes to township economy, a lot of people, they're fighting that the power must come back to their hands to say, you know what, man, township economy belongs to us. But what is it that is hindering the factors of a township economy growing? If just talk to us, man. So this Tuesday, make that one smart money move as much as we took you through your smart money moves, Smart Money 101, right? So make that one smart money move. Pack amakwinya instead of buying a 60 rand lunch today, right? Skip the club, find your dream. People have dreams and they're always delayed because of the commitments that you have, because of the habits that you have. It's fine. I'm going to save or I'm going to buy that thing whenever I have the full 500. No, even if it's 250 rand. pack it somewhere, save it somewhere, right? Find your dream. That is the vibe that we all need to grow up with. That is the vibe that we always need in our life. So, kasi to the world, man. But first, you gotta be your own blesser, right? Before you bless other people, be your own blesser. Bless yourself, because those are the powerful financial moves that one needs to have in their own lives, right? So just talk to me right there by using the hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show, or you can send your voice note or call us right here and speaking, just talk to us some of the tips and advices you can give to people out there on how to save money if you have mastered that powerful, trait of not using and handling your money correct. Right here, I'm joined by Afri Berry. We're going to just dive deep into a little bit of it, because we all know we spend money different. Afri, good morning, and how are you doing this morning?
Hey, morning, Mo. How are you? I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Good morning to the Vooga Nation. I hope you guys are feeling fantastic on this first day of July, which is basically the second half of the year, man. And
Yeah.
we're kicking it off on a financial start, letting you know what to do in terms of your finances, and obviously how to assess your assets and liabilities.
Yeah, man. So it is the conversation, and as I have started with it, just took you through, man, those smart money moves that you can make, because man, a lot of us are not really smart when it comes to finances, right? So if you want that education, don't worry, we've got you covered. We can't be speaking about and raising problems, right? We can't be raising problems without solutions. We've got all of the problems, we've got the solutions. This is the Vooka Breakfast Show. That's what we do, right? And then Temimni coming through saying hashtag know your goals. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Knowing your goals. Set your goals. Whether it's long-term goals and short-term goals. Right. And the nicest thing about setting your goals is even if when it's long term, right? I just love the analogy of just getting a deep context of short term goals and long term goals, because people think that short term goals is your monthly goals only, your daily. No. It can be hourly and minute goals. You can set a goal right now that in the next minute, I'm going to wake up and make myself the most healthiest breakfast I've ever made for myself. Right? So that's the importance of setting goals in our lives. What role do they play? And what power do we give, our goals? It's the 1st of July. I know it's the 1st of July. We need to set goals for ourselves. We really need to set goals ourselves. Let us not downplay. As I've said, that people always say you only live once. No, what do you mean, uzofa? Imagine dying without a plan, man. What kind of a human being are you going to be? Do you believe in goals?
Yeah, man, I do, hey?
Yeah.
But like, this is something that I've always said. Guti, Mina, I do not set, resolutions. But
Yeah.
yes, I do believe in goals. I do believe in the fact that sometimes you need to have a structured way of building your life or forming the life that you want to have.
Yeah.
So there's certain steps that need to be implemented into your life so
Yeah.
that you literally reach that one goal that you want to achieve.
Exactly. And it also speaks to now setting and structuring how we want to see ourselves panning out in the future, because not only having goals, they will also help us to make better decisions, and how you need to avoid making those impulsive decisions, because sometimes you are tempted to make those decisions. Not attempted, man. You are tempted, to make bad decisions. So if you have goals, they're going to train you, to be on the right path, right? So that you cannot get yourself into troubles. You cannot get yourself into regretting, because I know a lot of people who have diaries, and that diaries are full of regrets. Imagine having a diary full of regrets instead of jotting down the celebrations that you have for yourself, especially having goals to say, okay, what is it that you can work on? Because the first thing that you need to work on is, just setting yourself, to be on the right mindset. It always starts with your mindset. Whatever that you do, even, the greatest music that was composed, it was not just there. It had to go through the mind, had to go through thought process first, and then after thought process, then you go into it bit by bit. Then you will have your masterpiece, and everyone will love it. So how you decide to become, even the person that you want to become, it is a goal that you need to set for yourself, right? Because each and every day we are becoming different people. And how do we now navigate that? How do we now set ourselves apart from being tempted to become what we are not? Because also circles, the friends that we have, they are the ones who play a huge role. They benefit to us becoming the people that we do not want to become, because now you're going to be put under pressure, and pressure makes you to not and makes you to make the decisions that you don't want to make, especially financially. Right? You have money or you don't have money, and you hang around friends who have money. Then now you are pressured to, putting yourself into debt because you want to fit into the crew. Right? That is not what we want for you today, because Tuesday is all about choosing you. It's all about, the woke nation. Let us choose to be woke on this day. And speaking of woke, we've got a jam-packed show for you, as promised, that today on our guest, we are going to be having Ostembi, so stay the speaker. On public affairs. Everything public is going to be spoken right here. As much as, I was just bluffing with some of the experiences that I went through. Stembiso will be here speaking with us. Of course, it's public affairs. We are going to speaking everything public that you need to know, whether it's a service delivery, the municipalities, what is wrong that we are doing as citizens, as abahlali of the communities, to hinder things like your service delivery, also youth employment, because last month was youth month, and I just believe that each and every day should be youth month, because kids and young people are always in the spaces making moves. We don't need to be recognized only in that 1 month. Now the focus is changing. It's July. Where are we going? Is it elder months? No. It needs to be on the young ones, because the young ones are the future of this country. And also we're going to be looking into, he's going to be speaking about foreigners and jobs in our country. Are foreigners really taking young people's jobs in our country? Because it's something that we have always been complaining about. To say no, people and foreigners, illegal immigrants come and take our jobs from us. So it's a conversation that you do not want to miss. He will be joining us right here in studio, right? And then 2 online interviews that we're going to be having. One of them is Miss Thulisile Mkiti, a certified coach and a general manager at Novalo Learning Center. She's going to be taking us through the center on what it offers, because she is a certified coach. We all need coaches in our life, whether it's a life coach, a mental coach. Coaches are very important, right? Because they help us to lead the right way in our lives. And then lastly, online, we're going to be joined by Kaiseho Makoina Eva Manamela, a creative and a social entrepreneur. But for today, I think she will be taking us through the book review, right? She is also an author of Kitty's book, if I'm not mistaken, right? Kitty's book. So she is going to be joining us online. So it is a conversation that, I want you to wait for, because, of course, it's Tuesday. We have to choose each and every conversation we're about to have as it is going to help us to become and shape ourselves for the future. Vooka Nation, talk to us. Hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show is the hashtag to use right there on YouTube. Share the live, because we are live on YouTube. Also, if you want to follow us on our social media platforms, all you need to do is to go through and search Vooka Breakfast Show on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and also X. Right now, we're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we're going to give you your daily bread, which is Today in History, Celebrity Birthdays, and of course, Word of the Day. So don't go anywhere.
Hey family,
Hi,
My name is Tisiga Mazibugo Shabalala.
My name is Moketi Maimane.
my name is Musi Miss
my name is Ketsuake Mnguni
on the Vooka
Vooga Breakfast Show.
Every weekdays from 7 a.m.
to 10 a.m.
This is where we are going to have our topical discussion featuring various experts from different fields.
We're gonna take care of you and it's gonna be amazing, man. Right now I'm on the set of the Vooka Breakfast Show brought to you by the Blink-On Network.
Do not forget to subscribe.
That's Vooka Breakfast Show on Facebook and all other social media platforms.
Vooga.
See you there.
Well, yeah, shopping blossom memory. Yes.
Wow.
This is Ted, the Wild Irish Comedian. You're watching Vooka Breakfast Show. Tune in every morning, Monday to Friday.
Seven minutes till we hit 8 o'clock on the dot, and you're still watching your favorite morning epic breakfast show, which is the Vooka Breakfast Show, of course, man. Your energetic start to your day, accompanied by that daily dose of positivity. Located right here in the heart of Johannesburg, it is Soweto, Dobsonville. That is where we are streaming live. And my name is Moketi Maimane. And of course, I'm happy to be with you. So the engagement must keep on going throughout our social media platforms, which is hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show on YouTube, because that is where we are live and alive. Speaking of alive, people are starting to come in numbers, and I'm asking myself, what's going on now? Yeah. Steve,
Hey man. Awesome, man. Hi, good morning, Vooka Nation. I hope everybody's doing good, man. And this is your boy, AlexRD_47. Steven, nothing is ever even, man. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing, man?
Yeah, man. It's Tuesday, of course, man. And speaking of Tuesday, of course, there's something that one needs to choose for themselves. And when it comes to Tuesday, we know that we focus on personal finances. And I've been going through some of the financial, education that we all need, So for us to become better person, we need to be disciplined.
Of course,
with our finances, because man, spending has its own habits.
Hey, man.
And it makes you the person that you don't want to become.
Hey, bro.
Because it's money. Sometimes money comes, sometimes money goes in. Are you someone who is financially sensitive when it comes to money?
Yo, bro, I'm very sensitive, I'm very sensitive.
You don't just spend.
I try not to just spend. I wouldn't say I don't just spend. I try not to overspend. Yeah, I go within my budget, and then once it's done, it's done. I can't go over the budget. That's just where I stand. Yeah, man.
Then
how's your relationship with money?
My relationship with money is gradually growing into becoming someone who is very, very, very aware of each and every cent that they spend. Because I think I'm someone who just spent money because, okay, it's there. Because I was just making this example of saying, instead of Ubering, walk. This past Sunday, I was in that experience. I was like, no, man. And I know myself, even if I am waking up, just checking on my drawers if I have that roll on and say, okay, let me just go to the mall and buy that roll on, which costs maybe like 60 rands, 70 rands. And let me just go. I will request. But this Sunday, I made a good decision. I said, you know what?
You walked.
Let me walk, guys. I can't be wasting that money because you will be waiting for a ride that will cost like your $25 for a 25-minute walk. Come on, man, guys.
I mean, man. As much as you money sensitive, you have to be time sensitive also, man. You get me. So, hey, bruh.
I have all the time, man.
Yeah?
I have all the time.
Luckily, the Bolt has those discounts, man. Hey, if it wasn't for the discounts, it was going to be crazy.
That's how they get you spending your money, right?
Yeah.
Because every time you see those 20% discount, you're thinking, because I think sometimes it's a scam, man. The 20% discount, it's them taking just, 2 rands off. 2 rands off. Because when I started to pay attention to the discounts, I think the one that makes sense, it's a 60% discount. I don't know if you've got that.
No.
Have you?
I don't have Bolt.
You use Uber?
Use Uber.
I walk.
You're saving.
I
but at the end of the
walk.
day, man.
No, but besides that, at this moment, I literally do not have any use for it. It has not gotten to a point where I need to go somewhere and I literally need to request. It's either I walk or I take a taxi, which is also a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the last time I had a Bolt app and actually used it was last year.
That's crazy.
And it doesn't even stay. I'm like literally going to download it right now because whenever I keep on here's another trick to Bolt actually. When you download your app and then you delete it, and then like you literally don't use it for almost like 2 months or so.
Yeah.
Once you re-download it, you start getting like your 60% off on rides or 50% off on rides. So that's something that I've kind of like mastered nyana in a way. So the only time I actually download Bolt or use it, it's if I really need it, which is basically maybe after 3 months or even twice in a year.
Yeah, so
and
you
by the time I download it, I'm on 50%.
So you just walk the whole time besides that?
Yeah, the whole time I just Manuela.
Yeah, you said so though.
Yes,
said so
but
though.
yeah, half the time I literally walk. If it's within my walking distance and I don't feel I'm not feeling tired, then I walk. But if I'm like feeling extra tired that day, maybe it's like a slow day for me, then yeah, I'll probably take a taxi. But then Bolt on my phone, no man.
Yeah.
Hey man, NGL nah, with the money in my pocket, and I'm tired. I am bolting, bro. I'm bolting, man.
It's something that even my brother, always asks me that, dude, are you seriously bolting, man, to go to the mall? I'm like, no, man, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I don't want to walk. It's the privilege of having that 150 in your account or whatever money that you have, man, because I always use it just to satisfy myself. Because sometimes you're thinking about, man, let me save this 150, and then your friend comes or whatever, your partner says, hey, can I have a 70 bucks? You don't even hesitate. You do immediate payment.
Hey, man.
That's how bad it can get. So rather, let me spend the money on myself.
Has this ever happened to you, bro? Like, you lost 150, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to save it. You're like, nah, I'm saving this for a special moment. I'm going to save it. And then every time you have that last cash, if something always sparks up, bro, just bah. Then you're
Of
like,
course.
oh, damn, I have to use it again.
It always happens.
It
always happens.
Hey man, I hate that. I want to save more, man. I don't want to save only 50%, bro. I want to save all of my money, bro.
I think with savings, man, it also comes with the environment and seeing people do it. Right, because it's a practical thing. You need to see maybe your friend saving. You need to see your dad, your mom saving, so that you can literally say, okay, no, man, I can actually do this myself, right? Because I remember when I started saving, I had a lot of discouragement from my friends.
Is it?
They'll say, dude, why are you saving? Like those are the things that you get from your friends. Man, like you're going to spend it besides. So rather take out the money and spend it on things that you love. No, but guys, this is going to help me on rainy days, because one thing about savings, and now I'm learning about investment, because there are people who are coming with hacks now when it comes to investment to say, because I remember Osvaldo saying, you can actually live off from your investment, because whenever it grows, you can, what's this term, man? You loan. Yes, you can borrow.
Yeah.
You can borrow from the money that you have invested.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's still, because, you invest 1,000 and then maybe for 3 months, it accumulates 6% or 7% interest. Maybe on that 7%, you get 1,700 or 1,070.
But actually,
you're able to borrow that money, and that 1,000 is still there.
You see what you're saying, what Osvaldo's saying, and what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
There's a testament to it. Like Elon Musk, before Elon Musk became a millionaire, bro, he was getting paid in stock. Getting paid in stock, and then he went to the bank. He's like, look here, bank, I have so much stock that's worth this much. Much, and then give me like 1 million or 10 million. And then they gave him the money, invested in somewhere else with that money, and also with the loan, you can't get text on it also.
Yes.
So it's a smart way of saving, man. It's a smart way of saving.
Some of the things that we're just leaping, on.
Yeah,
because that's the concept of let your money work for you, right? That is how your money is going to work for you. Imagine having that money, that's 50,000, man, and you will not be able to touch it for the next 10 years.
Hey,
it keeps on accumulating
the whole time,
each and every time. It accumulates. And then when it gets to, I don't know, after 50, 20, 25 years, maybe it's right there on 2.5 point something million rands, by just staying there and you using those interest that you get from that money.
So would you call this using money smartly? Let's say you have like what? Let's say you have like 800,000, right? You're trying to buy maybe a car. Now, instead of using that 800,000, you go and get a loan. Is that a smart way? Thinking maybe you're trying to run away from the tax, and you have the money in your account. Is that viable?
I mean, one would call it smart, but for people who are always wary with what and how they spend their money, they will feel like, hey man, why do I feel like I'm scamming the system? Because I know people like that.
Hey man,
even what everybody is doing by uninstalling and installing them. Someone will feel guilty and say, no, man, I feel like I'm robbing the system here. So let me not do it. Let me do it the proper
really,
way.
man. I remember there was once a time where Bolt had like a glitch on their system.
Yeah.
And people could actually get free rides for a while.
Damn.
This year it happened because I remember my friends were like sharing on a WhatsApp group that we had, like, hey, brah, you can request. And then there's a certain way that you hack through the system.
Yeah.
And then that system, it shows the driver that when are you going to pay mine. But as soon as the driver ends the trip, it says free, baba. I don't pay anything.
Wild. That's wild.
And Bolt fixed that because a lot of drivers were now starting to notice it. They're like, no, man. There's something within the Bolt app that makes people literally get free rides. A person can literally request, and then the ride will probably say, like, for example, 60 Rand. And then when you end the trip, because of the hack that I use, I'm not going to pay a single cent.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That's wild. Hey, man.
Hey, man.
These Bolt hacks.
So those are the things, man. We speak about, smart money moves,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in which you're going to get right there at academy@vookadaily.co.za. Smart money management 101 objectives that are going to help you to become a better person when it comes to saving money. Before we give you a traffic update right there from our man Cat, who is on the road, just to keep you safe. And if you're preparing to be on the roads, I might see right there Zinzi Elizabeth coming through saying, good morning, Vooka Nation. It's a new month and we are halfway to the end of 2025. Hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show, and then she comes back and say, lol, my relationship with money is complicated because I try to stick to the budget, but 30% of the time I don't get to 70%. When I get to 70%, okay, I don't yet 70%, I stick to it. It's a work in progress. So 30% of the time, try to stick to the budget, but 30% of the time she doesn't get maybe to 70%. I think that's what she's trying to say. She sticks to it. It's a work in progress.
Work in progress.
We all in that work in progress because to tell you, I for one, I just believed, and when I heard of the word savings, I just thought, okay, just putting money aside, right? But there's more to it. You can put money aside so that it can work for you. You need to learn about your interest rates. It's things that you need to learn about. Even buying shares to certain companies that are listed on your Johannesburg Stock Exchange.
Yes,
So it's some of the things when you are working towards it to say, okay, man, hey, I don't think my salary itself, it's getting me by. Like there's someone who's really suffering earning 50,000 Rand per month. Man.
Hey, man, it's not even someone. Most of South Africans, bro, they work and then get paid, use their money to pay off the loans and then go back.
to paycheck.
Go back, get another loan for the next month again.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, we have to really learn how to save properly.
We have to learn.
Yeah.
We have to learn. And, of course, man, if you are someone who is... about to get onto the road, we've got our man right there, Kat, on the road, giving us the latest traffic update. And this is how the traffic is looking like.
No, man, I can just always request and come back. But when you think...
Right. So this is the the image of traffic on how it's looking like, and then we've just had an audio recording from him just to tell us and to let our viewers and listeners at home on what to expect when you are on the road.
Yo, 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 yo. Good morning, Vooka Mantle. Hey, Rivugile. Hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show. Hashtag stuck in bumper to bumper traffic. Yeah, guys. So, quick traffic update. On Winnie Mandela Drive going towards Four Ways, there's a stationary vehicle like in the middle of the road that's stuck. Then, on the freeway N1, traffic towards Winnie Mandela Drive from Rivonia side and Bears Nodia side, queue like bumper to bumper traffic. So expect delays, guys. Expect delays. N3 towards the airport, bumper to bumper traffic. There's an accident that side, so be very cautious.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of traffic in Sandton.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those who are going in Sandton, manaskisi, guys. It's a situation the side.
Yeah.
Anyway, stay blessed, stay clean, rivugile, and we're going in, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hustle, hustle, hustle hard.
There we go, man. Thank you so much, Keta, for that wonderful, man, traffic update. That's what we do, man. Just connecting across all over where we are. If you're happening to be on, if you're one of the Vooka Nation team and you're on a plane, you can just give us air traffic right there to say, you know what, man, fly Emirates. Because, we dream big. We can't say these fly Emirates. But yeah, Winnie Mandela Drive, you need to expect traffic right there. And then N1, it's the N1 traffic towards Winnie Mandela Drive. There is a traffic. So if you are heading there, expect a lot of delays. And also M3 towards the airport, there is also a lot of traffic right there. We know still schools have closed, but it doesn't mean that people don't wake up and go to work. So you should always be careful on those roads when you are driving. Drive cautiously, of course. And then the last one, Santana, there is a lot of traffic, as Kat has mentioned. So please do make sure that you are wary of that and you drive carefully. It's still in the morning. Other people are rushing to work. So the most important thing you need to do is to look out and be aware of traffic where you are going. Very interesting, and thank you so much, man. If you happen to be on the road also as someone who is listening, please do make sure that you share your traffic update by using 0604933226. It's 0604933226. That is the number that you need to send your voice note on. And then, as I promised, man, 10 minutes past 8, it is the time, and we're still going hard. Asbayegi, right?
Let's go hard, man. Let's go hard.
Let's go hard on them. And speaking of going hard, man, it is the 1st July, and we know each and every day of our lives something happened 100 years back, 1,000 years back. What is one of the things that you remember that happened 1,000 years back? Not 100, not 50.
I was not here, so I can't remember anything.
Something you read about.
Something you read somewhere.
Something you read. Of course, you were not here, man. How?
Maralwena, did you listen to how you structured your question?
Yeah, because
I gave that answer.
I know, because
so,
a lot of us were not here.
1,000 years back, Brother B, correct me if I'm mistaken. 1,000 years back was like medieval times, yeah? Was it medieval times? It's alright. But yeah, that's just... Yeah.
Yeah, please switch on your mic. Is your mic on?
We can't hear you. Yes.
Hey, man, 1,000 years back, man.
1,000 years back.
Yeah, man. I mean, 1,000 years back, I think, how long ago did a crusade happen? I'm not sure if it's 1,000. It's not 1,000, yeah? Is it 1,000 years back?
I mean, there's talks that we're actually not in the year 2000.
Oh, there's talks that we're not in the year 2000.
2000.
Oh, okay, with the J. I see where you're going. 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 Oh. Here's another interesting fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting history fact. October 18. Is it 1835 or? It should be 1835. I'm not sure where exactly. 1835, 1836, somewhere there. But yeah. The Gregorian calendar was being introduced.
Okay.
So what happened was this is part of the reason why we have, I could say, a leap year, because when the Gregorian calendar was introduced, they were using a Julian calendar. Yeah. So the Julian calendar, it was the 1st of October.
Yeah.
And then they had to make sure all the days or the months align together, and then once they jumped to the Gregorian calendar, they jumped onto it from the 1st of October straight went to shot to the 15th of October. So that's one interesting fact about history. So yeah, this is in 1835 or 1836, somewhere around there.
Powerful, man. Powerful. And thank you for sharing that, man. And we know that each and every day, man, there's something significant that happened in history. In which is we go through it just to also learn. Because, man, history lessons, some of us who did history, we were robbed, right?
Hey, man.
So we just, take it into consideration and take the matters in our own hands and say, you know what, we're going to dig deep into the history that we are going to be learning right here. So let's get deep into what happened today in history. The first one that I have here is last Ford Thunderbird was produced. The final Ford Thunderbird rolled off the assembly line on July 1st in 2005 at Wixom Assembly Plant in Michigan, marking the end of an iconic American nameplate that had spanned 11 generations since 1955. Originally launched as a stylish personal luxury car to rival the Corvette, the Thunderbird evolved through decades of redesigns before Ford attempted to retro rival in the early 2000s. Despite initial excitement, sales declined and model was discontinued after a limited run of the 11th generation. Very interesting. Right? And then on the next one, in 1914, General J.B.M. Herzog founds the Free State National Party. On July 1st, 1914, General J.B.M. Herzog founded the Free State National Party in Smithfield as a break away from the pro-British policies of Prime Minister Louis Botha. Herzog, a former Boer war general, championed Afrikaner nationalism and opposed British imperial influence in South African politics. The party was structured on a federal basis with branches soon established in other provinces, laying the groundwork for what would become the broader national party that later shaped South African history.
Interesting. I didn't know that one there. Hey, we learn every day, man.
Now you know.
We learn every day.
And then the last one, in 1916, Coca-Cola brings the current Coke formula to the market. In 1916, Coca-Cola introduced the now familiar Contour bottle, a design so distinctive it helped protect the brand from imitators and became an icon in its own right. While the formula itself had already undergone changes since 1886 debut, this year marked a turning point in how the drink was packed and perceived. The secret syrup recipe remained closely guarded, but the new bottle gave Coca-Cola a visual identity that matched its growing cultural presence, reinforcing its status as a uniquely American refreshment.
Yes, sir.
We all love Coke.
Hey, man. An interesting fact about Coke, bro. When Coke was first made, it was sold in pharmacies. Did you know that? They deemed Coke as it was. They thought it was like a medicine. Yeah. Like for soldiers in war and stuff. Yeah, man. So that's
it's the same as chocolate. Chocolate was known to like cure headaches and colds. So chocolate is normally had as a medicine instead of a bit of a sweet tooth like we now have it.
Yeah. Very interesting, man. Things that we just find out right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show. Sometimes it's things that we've never heard of. And if you didn't know, now you know.
Bruh.
Just let me know right there on the comment section by using the hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show to say, you know what, man, when it comes to one of the history moments that you have went through, this is what I know, right? So moving on, man, in terms of looking into the inventions that were and happened and also took place in our country or outside the country. So today, the inventions that we're looking into, we have what we call ARPANET. ARPANET, the internet's roots trace back to 1969 launch of ARPANET, a U.S. defense-funded network linking research institution for secure communication. Through the 1970s and 1980s, the development of email, TCP, and IP protocols and growing institutional use laid its foundation. But it was Tim Berners-Lee's 1989 invention of the World Wide Web, paired with 1990s innovation like the web browsers and domain names, that transformed it from a research tool into a global public phenomenon.
Aye, man. Thank you to them, man. Thank you to the military. They made us GPS. They made us the internet. Hey, man, they've been helping us. They've been helping us.
This is where we are because of them, right?
Thank God we're not using Morse code. Yo.
Hey, I mean, it was going to help, in some form of, helping us, man. Because
Morse code?
Yeah, man. Morse code, man. There's something with Morse code, man.
Hey, man.
I think also knowing it is a bit of a survival skill, man. It also helps in a way because if you've noticed, basically in most movies, the kind of show like communication gets cut off and stuff, and the only way to communicate at that time without the enemy actually hearing you or knowing about your plan, it's basically what Morse code. And for me, as I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's also something that should also be taught in schools, man, for survival modes, because a lot of people are being kidnapped, a lot of kids are going missing. So imagine if a 5-year-old knows Morse code and they're probably somewhere in the boot of a car, and then they start banging and making sounds, and somebody hears that. Wouldn't we be like saving a whole lot of people there?
Hey, man,
I don't think it would work, man, in this age, the TikTok age, the Instagram age. Let's say it does come back. Now,
blink twice if you need help, my friend.
Hey, man. But then, hey, bro, this thing of Morse code being taught in schools, man, I'm against it. Because, hey, bro, people have short memory, man.
Yeah.
Morse code is too.
That's why I'm saying
it's too difficult.
It'll increase their brain's capability. That's what I would like. I'm thinking about Morse code because it will help you to remember. You are forced
because Morse code
to remember the codes.
Morse code is like listening to white noise, but then with knots inside, like
And if we can look at it, because I think it is language, but now it's a language. It's well constructed Morse code to say, okay, now we need to hear each other. Let's form ways. Let's come up with ways that we cannot we can hear each other when we are communicating, right? And then with Morse code, of course, when it comes to the brain, man, one thing about the brain is the most complex organ
it is
in a human being.
Yep.
So imagine if we had to just dive deep into its own horizons itself to say, okay, man, let's see what the brain can do. I mean, a lot of people go crazy.
I will end up becoming Lucy, eh?
Yeah, man. So, yeah, that is the inventions that we covered for today. ARPANET, right?
ARPANET.
And then heading over to calendar in terms of the days that we are into there. As we know that it is the 1st of July, the 7th month, halfway through the end of the year. Today is the 182nd day of the year, 183rd in leap years, and we are left with 183 days left and also 25 weeks remaining, right? So use this time wisely. It is the time to make that decisions that you've always wanted to make. And as of right now, man, how are you using your time, right? Because people say time is money. Time is not money, man. There's a lot of things that you can put a name to when you want to describe what is time to you. Because
Technically
time,
speaking, it is though. Think about it. It is.
It is.
At work, they pay you for the hours of work, right?
time is money.
So technically speaking, it is.
but there's time that you cannot get, from missing some of the moments. Being part
true
of the
that, true
moments,
that, true that.
It's time that you cannot
True that,
regain,
yeah.
right? So it's vast. It's vast. So we are left with 25 weeks remaining, right? So let us use this time.
25
wisely.
weeks, yes.
25 weeks, man. And then looking into the national days that we are celebrating, today is the National Financial Freedom Day. Right, observed on July 1st, the National Financial Freedom Day promotes the goal of living without financial stress, where savings, investment, and passive income cover your lifestyle without relying on a paycheck. It encourages people to reduce debt, build emergency funds, and make smart money choices that lead to a long-term independence and peace of mind. Right? So today, guys, financial,
hey man,
don't buy weed. Let's save.
Yeah, let's save, man. Let's save.
Save money, live responsibly, and things like that.
No liquor. No
guys,
chocolates.
Let's save money today. Let's save money. Make sure that for today, or maybe for this week, man, just make sure that you have an emergency fund. You are financially stress-free, because people got paid. People got paid. And some of you still have that money in your bank account. If you're not someone that money doesn't come in and go same time, like imagine, man. But let me not get into it. We're celebrating a National Financial Freedom Day. So today we are promoting the goal of living without financial stress, where savings, investment, and passive income cover your lifestyle without relying on a paycheck. Right? It encourages you to reduce debt, build emergency funds, and make smart money choices that lead to a long-term independence and peace of mind. Right? As much as we're looking into financial days, we're celebrating each and everything. And let's look into the people who are growing up today. Celebrity birthdays. The first one that we have on our celebrity birthday. And before we do that, if you happen to know anyone that is growing up and you would like to give them a shout out,
for sure,
and you would like us to help you wish them a happy birthday, please make sure to leave their name on the comment section by using hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show.
Sir.
Today we have a Tate McRae.
Tate McRae.
Is
he a singer?
Let's find out. Born the year 2003, age 22 years. Interesting fact, early start. Tate McRae began recreational dance training at the age of 6 and later taught herself piano. Canadian pop singer who is recognized for her songs like She's All I Wanna Be and her 2025 chart-topping album So Close to What. Her first 2 studio albums, I Used to Think I Could Fly and Think Later, were well received and charted in Canada and other countries. Very interesting. Happy birthday,
man,
to Tate McRae. And then the next one we have right here is Chloe Bailey. Born 1998, turning 27 years. Interesting fact, she's also stars. That's where I knew her. On Grownish. Grownish with Yara Shahidi. Right, actress and singer known for being part of R&B duo Chloe and Hailey with her sister Hailey. They signed with Beyonce's Parkwood Entertainment and supported the singer on the Formation World Tour. In 2018, she began starring in Grownish. That is
talented
Chloe Bailey. Happy birthday, Miss Chloe. And then other one that we have is Missy Elliott. Birth year 1971, turning 54 years. Interesting fact, she is the only female rapper to have 6 albums with platinum sales.
Yes, sir.
And she is the first female rapper to be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Grammy Award-winning rapper best known for singles such as Get Your Freak On, The Rain, and Lose Control. She became the first female rapper to release 6 platinum albums. She is growing up. Continue to grow.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday, Messi. Happy birthday, Messi.
Lose control.
Yeah.
The last one that we have right here is Alejandro Garnacho. Birth year, 2004. Yeah. Alejandro Garnacho is Born today at 2004, and he's turning 21 years old. Interesting fact about Alejandro Garnacho: scored 4 goals in 4 appearances for the under-20 team at the 2022 Maurice Revelo tournament, winning the Revelation Player and Goal of the Tournament awards. Spanish soccer star who got his start playing for youth teams such as Manchester United and Atletico Madrid. In April of 2022, he shared a photo training with a soccer player, Cristiano Ronaldo. The post received over 1 million likes. Happy birthday. Continue to grow, boy. And, of course, man, work on your football style, man. Come on, Alejandro. I mean, yes, United is a very big
But
team.
how does he play? What do you mean work on his football style? How does he play, bro? How does he play?
Man. United is a very big team.
That's
always what I'm like, advocating for, to say, guys, if there are certain expectations that we have as fans if you're called a professional.
Professional, like you were saying last week. Yeah.
If today you are a professional tattoo artist,
there's
if someone bleeds, hi baba, we make you trend.
What do you mean bleed?
Because obviously they're gonna bleed,
What did you
man.
say? Maybe if I make a line wrong.
In terms of making the line wrong and the tattoo does not look good. No, we're calling you out, bro.
Calling the bureau, bro.
Let's call people out, man. There's so many people.
But I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I get what you mean.
I mean that title itself, man, professional.
I mean, going back to yesterday's match, bro, you're a professional soccer player, and you make your own goal, bro. How, dog? How?
But an on goal, it's understandable because it's
understandable. How, Mo?
It is
on goal, understandable.
On goal, it
no
is.
way, fam.
Not Alejandro. What Alejandro is doing, man, wasting opportunities. I'm talking about real one-on-one opportunities.
With the goalie.
Amano with the goalkeeper, my friend.
Still not making the most of it.
Still not making the most.
Yes, Alejandro.
There's rumors that he's on a transfer list, that Manchester United want to let him go, right? But yeah, man, I just wish that he finds a team that he will be well fit in it and continue to grow his football career. Yeah, that is all for the people who are growing up. Let me just check if someone just wished someone a happy birthday out there, and there is no one who is growing up, because man, all the people are growing up in June. That's what I've seen.
A lot of people in June. There's too much people in June. Hey.
And yesterday we were celebrating Aunt's birthday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is Tembim's sister, right? Yeah, she was growing up. She was the last one to close off the month. Imagine, man. June.
Watch. We're in the beginning of July. There's more, boy.
July.
There's more.
July.
It's still winter, bro. People are getting bored during the winter time, man.
They are mingling.
Hey, mingle.
Right, yeah, man. So that's what we have for our birthdays for today, right? So happy birthday to everyone who is growing up.
Yes,
maybe
sir.
you're listening and you don't know how to, not to say you don't know, but you don't have the chance to type it. Happy birthday.
Yeah! Hip hip! Hooray!
Hip hip!
Hooray! Hooray!
Yeah. Happy birthday. And then, of course, man, moving on to what we call word of the day, because we always improve our spoken day-to-day word. Just to make sure, hey, man, the words that we use. Of course, man, sometimes you need to impress, your partner, your friends, maybe your family members, right, with the words that we guys give you. It is aimed at teaching you and improving your day-to-day spoken language, which is your vocabulary. So, what is our word of the day for today? So, for today, our word of the day is tumultuous. Tumultuous.
Okay.
Right? Tumultuous. So, tumultuous or tumultuous is spelled as follows. It's Tumultuous. 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 And sometimes I just want to give people who are listening, man, just a task, man, to say the word that you're seeing.
How are you going to use it, bro? How are you going to use it?
Not to say how to use it, right? We just put the word on the screen and say, pronounce it. As simple as that.
Yeah, for real, though. That's a nice exercise.
Because if I teach, you have to teach.
Yeah, for real.
We are also students here, right? As much as we teach people with the things that we find, we also want to be taught also to say, no more, that word is tumultuous.
Tumultuous.
Right? And I will be happy to take that. I will be happy
for
to
real.
take that. So the word for today is tumultuous. And it is spelled as follow once again. It is Tumultuous.
Tumultuous.
And then you're asking yourself, what is the definition and what does it mean? So the word means to making an uproar or loud, confused noises. Right? Making an uproar or loud, confused noises. Noise.
Okay.
A tumultuous period or event is characterized by great disorder, confusion, and agitation. It often involves a lot of noise, violence, and emotional upheaval. I'm just confused with the confused noise, man.
So I think what
How
they
is
mean
noise
is just loudness. Like just a noise that's unnecessary that causes you to think, what's going on? Is it a fight? Are they celebrating?
Yeah.
Is it something like that?
And then they start screaming, bro. Like you never know if are these guys fighting or they're celebrating until you literally go out and say, man, this noise was unnecessary, man.
Okay, yeah. So one of the similar words that we have for this word tumultuous is loud, deafening, thunderous, ear-shattering, noisy, and clamorous. Right? Ear-shattering, noisy, clamorous, deafening, and loud. Wait, is it loud or loud?
That's
loud.
Yeah. That's
No, but I think there is a word loud here. A hamlet in Toft. Okay. So
you said tumultuous. Tumultuous. Give us the definition again.
The definition is making an uproar or loud, confused noise. And then a sentence example is, there was a tumultuous applause as he rose to speak. There was a tumultuous applause as he rose to speak. That is the word, tumultuous. How would you use that word, tumultuous?
Tumultuous. Let me see. As I'm thinking, Afri, you go in. Tumultuous. Yeah?
Yes, I'm thinking after you go in, my bro. I'm also trying to think here.
Okay, cool. I'm always gonna go to the clients, bro. Hey, because that's the only closest reference I have right now. You know, the client showed his frugality, with this tumultuous. Wait. The client showed his frugality.
Yeah.
With his tumultuous stomping of feet. Yes.
Tumultuous stomping of feet.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. And then for me, I would say 2 years back, there was a tumultuous noise when Yusuf Marta scored that goal halfway when I was watching the Soweto Derby at FNB. Woo! Very powerful, man. And I remember the atmosphere, man.
Changed.
Yeah, I'd rather call it the atmosphere because we don't call it tumultuous. Don't ever call it tumultuous. It's called the atmosphere. But there was a tumultuous noise when Yusuf Marta scored that goal. You know, when the Soweto Derby was playing, man. Halfway, Baba.
Halfway from the center. Yes.
From the center.
Hey, that's one of those
Come
one in a
on,
million
man.
goals, man.
Man. So, yeah, it was powerful. That is how I would use the name.
As I was sitting at home enjoying a nice cup of tea, I had some very weird tumultuous sound coming out from the streets.
Interesting, man. Interesting. So, right there at home, if you're watching, how would you use the word tumultuous? Right? And I'm about to be in a conversation right here with Ms. Thulisile Mkiti. And of course, man, Ms. Thulisile Mkiti is a certified coach and a general manager at Novalo Learning Center. We're not going to be making tumultuous moments right here.
Yep.
You know, just going to be taking it easy, getting straight into the conversation because it is an interesting conversation that we're about to get into right now.
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is not. Is Mrs. Manamela Makwena, right? Mrs. Manamela Makwena, Kaiseho Makwena. a creative and a social entrepreneur. She is joining us right here on the Vooka Breakfast
Social
Show.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think this is the second social entrepreneur we've had, yeah?
Yeah, man. So I think it's going to be a wonderful conversation that we're going to have. But before we get in, I see Tsakani B just joined in and say, Amavuga Mahle, good morning, beautiful. Good morning, beautiful people. We are here. And Sivugile, hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show. Thank you so much. Good morning to you. And I hope that you guys are having a blissful and a wonderful morning.
Yes,
so
sir.
right now, I just want to confirm if Miss Kaisego Makwena can hear me. Can you hear me, my good ma'am? Ooh.
Can you hear us, ma'am?
Oh, yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Now we can hear you.
But
now
can you
we
please
can
increase it a little because
hear
it's a
you
bit too low?
clearly. Good. Yes, we are good. We are good. We are good. My good mema. Yes, without wasting any time, welcome to the Vooka Breakfast Show. You know, right here, it's all about energetic vibes and that daily dose of positivity that we always give to our people.
Sir.
Right? And we are glad to be joined by you. A very good morning to you once again. And how are you doing this morning, ma'am?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm truly grateful to be hanging out with you this morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, the good vibes. Let's see how this conversation goes. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And how are you guys?
We are thrilled. We are thrilled to have you.
Yep.
Online.
Very excited to have you in studio. Very, very excited.
Yeah.
Can't wait to have this conversation with you and see what you got for us, yeah?
So let's get deeper into it. My name is Moketi Maimane and I'm joined by Stephen and Afri Pere right here. We will be with you just to enjoy the conversation and of course for the people who are watching
Hey, trio.
at home, to learn more. So storytelling as a legacy, exploring the power of words and culture with you for today to kick off this new month with purpose and reflection. This Tuesday stream leans into literacy, representation and legacy building. Right through your debut children's book Tiseke, cultural entrepreneur and creative powerhouse, Ms. Tlaisego Manamela invites us into a world where stories heal, educate and advocate. The conversation will focus on the creative processes behind Tiseke. It's a translation into Braille and indigenous languages and her broader vision for creative empowerment through deft multimedia heads. Right? So, once again, welcome, ma'am. And I think one of the questions we would ask, and for someone who's listening, just to get to know who you are, can you just, take them through a brief introduction of what you do actually?
So thank you. First and foremost, I am a qualified journalist and experienced. So I worked in for quite for a few years. Like from 2008, I was on the first team or the first people that were part of the ENCA, the news channel, and then I moved from the news channel to News Africa. And then I've worked in the South African media landscape. I mean, the Business Day, Financial Mail, I can go on and on. So for like almost a decade. And then from journalism, I just always had a zeal to go into creativity, because initially when I actually enrolled for journalism, my first love had actually always been art, the art. Draw to save my life, and therefore I couldn't make it into Parktown North at the time. So I went into journalism and kind of did well in it, or I think I did well in it, because that's where I was being pushed by my principals. Go into it. A bit of distinctions in there, not much, but yeah. And I ended up in journalism, but my first love is always been like the creative industry. So currently you are looking at a cultural and creative industries practitioner. So most of the work that I do is in PR, in cultural and creative industry. So
sorry, please say that again.
Organizing exhibitions. So organizing, are you having issues with sound?
No, it's the. I think
are
it's
you
your
able
network,
to-
hey, because when you talk, we hear bits and pieces and like, yakata.
Oh no.
But,
Yeah, I saw that this morning there was a of issues with the signal. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear, loud and clear. We got the gist. You were a journalist, but your first love is in the creative field, yeah?
Mm. Yeah. So as I said, I work mostly in the cultural and creative industries, and I also work in the film industry. Consult generally in the cultural and creative industry. So most of the work that I do is around that, and I love politics, and I fight for people's rights in every way that I can, every space where I find myself. The need for advocacy, activism.
Interesting. Would I be right in saying as you are in the creative field also right now, and you are a journalist, a former journalist on ENCA, if I'm not wrong, yeah? Are you right now finding a way? Are you using the both, like two skills to get to your goal? Are you using both of those skills to get to the final? How can I say the final product of your creative field?
Definitely, I think everything is aligned. I've always, when I was a teenager, I saw my purpose. I'm a spiritual person, so I think I found my purpose when I was still a teenager. So everything else that happened posed that once I was aware and practicing that, everything that happened in every space where I found myself, I think it was part of a bigger picture going forward into serving my purpose or being this useful, or maybe I hope that person in the country or in the world playing my role. So yes, definitely journalism is a big part of most of the things that I do. The background, my journalism background has resulted in Tiseke, because then I have an idea of what's happening around me, what's happening around the world, what's happening around Africa. I will attend to my son just now. I'm going to ask for a minute. I have 1 year. It's just the two of us. He can be something else this one. He my favorite person in the world currently, other than my lover. Yeah, so he is, quite a lot. But yeah, I can't imagine my life without him, because also even now, like talking about my journalism background and how it then contributes. I think even having him in my life, like right now going into volume 2, there's so much that I have gained knowledge of like kids again, like relearning, and he is definitely going to influence most of volume 2. But yeah, my journalism background is quite a significant part of who I am, right? How I speak, my context, my interests. Yeah.
It's interesting.
So, Mr. Tlaiseho, we're just going to ask you something, so that we can, make this, a better and a quality interview, because we would like you to switch off your video so that we can do it sound, because I feel like a video is taking much and you keep on cutting.
Sure. I'm glad to do that.
Right. So, as you have been speaking, man, and we hear that, you know what, you have worn so many creative hats. And I think one of the things we want to get deep into, because I saw the poster behind Tiseke, right? And one of the questions one would ask is, what inspired the story of Tiseke, and what does the character mean to you personally?
So, there was war at some point, a war between Zimbabweans and South Africans. on X, former Twitter.
Okay.
At some point in 2002, and I'm a thinker. Sometimes I would just think about something so deeply or for quite a while. I spend a lot of time in solitude. So that affected me. I started thinking about children. That if us as adults, we bashing each other, what happens to children of parents who were born from parents that are in diaspora? So children of Zimbabweans that are in South Africa now, right now, for an example, of Kenyans, Zambians, Mozambicans, you can name it. South Africa is like a home to so many non-South African Africans, apart from other nations. So it started bothering me, because I'm a mother, and I'm a mother of a child who is half Moroccan as well. But I also observe children during play time, and I hear things. And I started doing research. I started trying to figure out what children go through, and it was so necessary for this book to be written, because in the research there's a lot that I discovered that I wasn't even thinking of, like what children go through at playtime, like the words that are being exchanged. It bothered me. This book had to be written to resolve the social cohesion issues, or to bring about social cohesion and resolve the social ills that we have in the country. And it had to be written for Africa to move forward. It is necessary that our children live in a better Africa than we did. And we have issues in terms of undocumented citizens, I think let's because there's also there are also sort of conversations around what we should actually be calling undocumented. Are they illegal? Are they just undocumented? There are all those sensitive issues that surround immigrants, undocumented immigrants. So the book was meant to resolve that. And I know that, some people are angry at what is happening in terms of drugs, like some of the crimes and ills that are perpetrated by some undocumented citizens. So those can be fixed with policies. And I think with proper laws, we can deal with issues of immigration, and it's our principals who are then in a better position to do that. But also as a civil society, we can do what we can, but we cannot fuel hate. We can't kill people. We can't ban people for being undocumented, because they didn't create issues in their countries, and they didn't create the policy that forced them to cross borders. The issue is, obviously, there will be rotten potatoes of people who then commit crimes and use that advantage to, that loophole for their own advantage and for their own gains, and to cause issues, get involved in criminal activities. But in essence and in reality is that as Africans, we need to move forward and towards a united, integrated Africa that trades with one another, that has a strong currency. There is no way that we can stand strong to fight the worst. The worst. Let's call them that, because there are so many that are perpetrated and wars that are being fueled by the worst. And there is no way that we can stand firm as the African continent without addressing our own issues, which were caused by, the previous systems and colonialism. We were never meant to hate one another. We never hated one another in the past. The systems were created created and structures were created. I try not to dwell into too many terms and whatnot, but it is also important, even for your generation, to understand that there were deliberate structures that were put in place to segregate us as the Africans. And what we have to undo now is that in order to move forward and grow, because we have so much potential as a continent. In fact, we are wealthy. We have everything that we need.
Yeah, yes.
And there's also the issue of us starting to process our own minerals and whatnot. And, that conversation is becoming intense. We've been calling for it in the past 20 years since, the sort of woke myself came into the newsroom. We've been calling for that, and I'm glad that conversation is continuing. And I'm glad that I am seeing actually progress as well, where Africans are starting to trade with one another, becoming more friendlier. We are doing our exchange programs in the way that we can. And I think it's amazing. We should continue like that. And we should therefore create the kind of content that our children are going to enjoy, that it's also going to give them an idea of what happened in the past and how they can then move forward as African children in building a better Africa.
I see. So that will be part of the reason why the book, because I see the book also includes Braille for the blind and the deaf community. So that will be part of the reason why the book includes, it's so inclusive, yeah?
It is inclusive. So the book was first published in English. Then last year it was translated in Braille, Sepedi, and Chivenda. But the idea and the dream was just to have it in other languages, other African languages, including Swahili. It is 11, but obviously the project was in 100% funded, so we could only do
Interesting.
Just under 5% of what it was initially supposed to be. But we managed to then have it in different languages. So initially it was supposed to just be one Braille English, but because there was already a translation in Chivenda and Sepedi, then I decided, you know what, let's go all the way in. So even if we broke, it's fine. And then we then had it in Braille English, Braille, Chivenda, and Sepedi. Reason being, we need to include inclusivity. For me, God, guys, we need to start in everything that we do. We must start accommodating people who are differently able. Not using them as numbers for, to score higher projects. We need to deliberately include them in everything that we do. We need to accommodate them in spaces. They need entertainment as much. They are humans just as we are. However, they might not be able to consume or access certain places like we would. So I think, even for the youth, it's something that they should start thinking about in tech spaces and whatnot. Let us accommodate. Like they shouldn't. It saddens me that I'm very fond, and I speak often with Mr. Chase now of Braille Essay. So Braille Essay is the one that did the translation. So Mr. Chase and I sometimes have long conversations around like some of the challenges that they're facing in the Braille society. So for me, having this book, accessible in Braille was so necessary. And it saddens me that the corporate world is still not like really coming forward in making sure that this is reached. Yes. They are so slow in it. Like they don't take it. People just talk. There's a lot of talk and less doing.
Because I was about to say,
let us.
Yeah.
No, that's very interesting, man. And I think having the book in so many different languages is an amazing thing. But most importantly, I feel like also having it in Braille is very, very much important, because as much as we know that South Africa is a country known for diversity and all the different languages, but when it comes to the blind and deaf community, it's a community that's also been forgotten. And I think it's very amazing that you managed to convert your book also into Braille, so that they also read and learn about the amazing stuff that is also included in the book. So I also wanted to ask, if Tiseke had a soundtrack, what would it sound like, and who would you dream of narrating the audiobook? Just to give us a bit of a breather on that one.
I think Tiseke Kasambala herself. So the book was ignited by that incident that I told you about on X. But in terms of like the title itself, it was inspired by Tiseke Kasambala, who is an activist. She's a human rights activist and researcher. So she inspired that. I would really like to have her then narrate the book. She's got this rich African accent, which is quite amazing. Yes, definitely Tiseke Kasambala. Soundtrack, Strength and Resilience by Lutan Fire. It is Reggae Day today, is it not?
Reggae, reggae isn't dead. It's not dead.
World Reggae Day.
Red Day. Sorry. I misheard you. Red Day. Oh.
Reggae as in the...
Yeah.
Reggae.
For the...
Raga.
Oh, reggae.
Reggae.
So I am right. Okay. Yes. It's not dead.
No, it's Reggae Day.
Oh, it's Reggae Day. Oh, my God.
Yeah, okay. Man, you're not catching up, man.
You had a moment.
Hey, man, moments like these.
Somebody had a moment.
Oh, man. That's amazing, hey?
So I see, take it.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I was about to ask a quick thing. The what kind of stories does the book entail? Because I see it's about African, right? So what kind of stories does it entail, and how does it preserve African heritage?
So the illustration, just to answer the last question first, because the other one I might then go deeper. So in terms of heritage, the illustrations that are in the book, they're quite colorful. They represent African child and African family. The colors in there, the clothing, the sort of fabric that the people are wearing, the houses, the huts, the streets. It talks about the beauty of Africa without words. Just looking at the illustrations. The illustrations are very rich, very high res, and quite beautifully created by Sharon Sibanyoni. She's quite an amazing creator. And like the creative process was amazing, like working with her as well. I think you asked about the actual creative process, and I had not really responded to that because I started going on and on about it. But yeah, so the illustrations are just amazing. Like just looking at the illustrations, then you have a sense of the pride as an African. Any child who looks at that would then have an interest to want to know what happens in the rural areas, the architectural landscape of the rural sector, the rural areas and the cities. The kids in the rural areas would definitely have interest in that, in the city life. And then to answer your first question, it covers politics in a language that is understood by children, social issues in a language that is understood by children. What I did not cover was economical issues, which I think in volume 2, then they should come out. But it actually challenges a child to learn more about the African continent, but also the different countries on the different countries that are here in South Africa, the people that we live with, to understand exactly what they are going through. So it addresses issues of xenophobia, like various forms of discrimination, xenophobia, Afrophobia, bullying, at playtime. So it also sparks like a lot of conversations around where we are coming from, about a bit of our history, there and there, about the Constitution. So it's various sort of subjects that sparks conversations between children and parents whenever they, and I've heard so many a few times that like kids, as soon as they're done reading T-Sec, they're like, where is volume 2? Mommy, one volume 2. So and also I think the potential of the story continuing. Also, the children are looking, because Chiseke is narrating. She's giving a narration of her family, how her family looks like, and she aspires to be a journalist. So she also asks a lot of questions, and it ends with her being, their family planning a trip to Zimbabwe. You can ask your next question. Let me just check my mail.
Yeah. Ms. T-Sec, very interesting conversation we just had right there. So finally, how can the viewers get a copy of T-Sec, and how can they support your bigger mission that you are on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mr. T-Sec?
Seems like we've lost.
I can hear you. I am Miss. I've never been married. I am a Miss, and I'm very female. Somebody keeps calling me Miss. Anyway, what is your question?
I was asking finally that if someone is watching right now, how can they get, a copy of T-Sec, and how can they support your bigger mission?
My email address is deftpress, DEFTPRESS, deftpress@gmail.com.
Wait, sorry, deftpress@gmail.com, yeah?
Is 081 deftpress@gmail.com. And then my phone number, business phone number for Deft is 081 339 2746. T-Sec English is available in bookstores nationwide. If it's not available, they can place an order. But T-Sec African languages, they can get it directly by contacting me, and then I will send it to them wherever they are in the country, or beyond borders. But I am not the distribution method for the African version. I am still calling for young Black owned distributors. For now, distribution, I'm doing it myself.
Yeah.
Up until I find a company that can resonate with the project and that can move the project forward and get it in rural areas. The book must be available in rural areas. In Kokansi, the kids must have access to this book. So whichever company that's doing the full distribution must understand the vision.
Yeah.
But the first one was distributed by, the English version was distributed by, my son is losing it right now. It was distributed by Porcupine Press. But and then what other question did you ask? You asked a double question.
No, it was just how people can get, the copy of T-Sec.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
And the social media pages. So on Facebook is T-Sec book, and then on IG is T-Sec _ children's book. T-Sec _ children's book, and then Facebook is T-Sec book.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Tlaisego. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show. And we hope, that your journey continues, and, looking forward to more of your bigger mission and more of your works.
I'm grateful for this opportunity. To all Vooka listeners, the audience, thank you so much for tuning in. And the trio, Takani, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Thank you for that. That was our guest, Tlaiseho Manamela, a creative force journalist, filmmaker, and a social entrepreneur who's showing us that when we tell our own stories, we empower future generations to believe in theirs. So, what a journey through the pages of Tiseke. Thank you to her for not only writing this beautiful story, but for making sure it reaches each and every child out there, from Polokwane to the world, and every language that it matters. If you're feeling inspired on this beautiful Tuesday, here's a challenge for you. Grab a book by a local author this month and share your review or a quote using the hashtag Vooka Reads. Or better yet, give the book to a young reader and tag us by doing that. 6 minutes past 9, it is the time. So right now, what we're going to be doing is to move into the next conversation, which with Ms. Thulisile Mkiti, a certified coach and a general manager at Novalo Learning Center. It is a conversation that, as Vooka Nation, you do not want to miss right here, as she is joining us. All I need you to do is to use those hashtags. Hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show. We are live right now on YouTube. So let us get into straight to the conversation that we are about to get into right now with Ms. Thulisile Mkiti. So I just want to confirm if you can hear me, Ms. Thulisile.
Yes, I can hear you indeed. Good morning.
Good morning. We are thrilled to have you right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show, and we can't wait to get deep into the conversation with you, just to learn more about Novalo Learning Center and the services that you guys offer. So for someone who is watching right now and they're trying to understand, the works that you do, can you please take us through a brief introduction of what you really do?
No problem. Absolutely. My absolute pleasure to be with your community this morning as we start off a new month, having just completed the youth month that we just had. So I am from Novalo Learning Center, and we are an accredited skills development provider, specializing specifically in study skills, in psychosocial support, as well as in your work readiness training. And that is how we provide it. And at the core of why Novalo exists, it is to break the cycle of poverty through education. And the forms of education that we speak about is a lot more than just your technical sort of education that you would get from a higher learning institution, but it focuses more on things that you can equip yourself with to overcome any barriers that you might be having.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for that, because someone who is listening right now, they are just getting that background and trying to understand the services that you guys offer. So now can you please dive deep into telling us how your program, like the 2-week job seeker program and the multi-year academic and professional edge, supports students and the reset guards work?
Awesome. So our 2-week job seeker program is focused, of course, as it says, it's a job seeker. So somebody who is out there looking for opportunities. So that is the program which will assist you in terms of your CV, ensuring that your CV is at a level that it should be. It can be acceptable for AI tools that will be reading it. We also assist you in building that personal brand that you should have, as any individual should, in preparing you and ensuring that you are ready for interviews that might come up, how to best answer those interview questions in the way that will get you to be successful in that interview, and also things such as branding yourself also on LinkedIn platform as well, because we've realized that a lot of youth have got a presence on social media, but when they're seeking for job opportunities, they actually overlook the one social media platform that is meant for job opportunities, which is the LinkedIn platform.
Yeah, and I think just because, last and yesterday, we were just concluding the youth month, and there were a lot of initiatives that, were looked into how we can empower young people in our country. And one of the conversations that were held in one of the programs and initiatives was the difference of, the youth not being employed and being underemployed, right? So there's a lot of challenges that the youth are facing out there. So we are seeing that you've been active in a youth month event on Radio 702, Metro FM, helping youth craft their CVs. So the question will be, what are the most common roadblocks young job seekers face today?
I think throughout this past month of Youth Month, and as you said, with the initiatives that we had, the key drive of everything was really how a young person can improve on their CV and get their CV to be at an optimal level. There's something now that all young people need to realize is that a lot of applications now happen online, and they don't happen in terms of you submitting your CV to an organization in the hopes that an HR manager, a recruiter will look at it. And what does that mean for a young person? That then essentially means that you need to be able to ensure that your CV is readable for these AI tools. And specifically what these AI tools are called are applicant tracking systems, APS softwares. And in this month, that is the focus where we're trying to educate and empower young people to ensure that they start knowing these things. How can I get my CV to be at a level whereby the ATS will not kick it out? Because that's what essentially it does. Let me give you an example. The one biggest error that I've come across that young people do is that they submit CVs that have been copied or scanned. And in 2025, it is a cardinal sin when you are applying for a job to submit a copy that is either scanned or it has been photocopied and then you scan it. Yeah. You should be submitting a clean, clear copy of your CV that is either on PDF or on Word. And I strongly advise that it is on PDF, because the reason why I say that is that Word can be edited, correct? So now imagine you are submitting your CV and for whatever reason, something happens and it gets into the wrong hands, somebody can tweak it and edit it, and you don't want that. So, and I know there are tools even with PDF that can do that, but at least with PDF, it is a bit more protected. So when you submit your CV on these online platforms, ensure that it is a PDF copy. The second thing is keep it simple, guys. Keep it simple. You know, we aren't trying to see how creative you are, what fancy fonts you can put on your CV, what nice colors. Unfortunately, nobody really cares about that element. We just want to see the information that tells us more about you. Remember, your CV is your first step to getting into that interview. So if it is not correct, then that opportunity is not going to avail itself for you to get into the interview where you can then personally sell yourself and tell these individuals of who you are.
Yeah. Very, very educational piece you've just shared right there, because a lot of young people, they go, and look for tips, especially in social media. You see people opening threads, onto what to include in your CV. And you've just mentioned one of the challenges is a lot of young people now are copying CVs, and not, turning their document into PDF format so that it is not easily accessible for everyone out there. So, CV and AI in a job search, practical tips, AI tools. You emphasize using AI to customize CVs. Can you just explain to us how that works?
Yeah. No, definitely. And as I said, when I spoke about the ATS, the applicant tracking systems that are there, what's important is that you are able to use AI, such as ChatGPT, which I think a lot of people know. And if you are a young person out there and you aren't aware of AI tools, I strongly, strongly advise you that you go online, search what ChatGPT is or any other AI tools, Gemini, and if you have a Google account and so forth, that can assist you. So one of the smart tools that one can use is, let's say you're applying for a job and most probably you found out about this job online. What you can do is take that job description as it has been given to you online and go and put it into an AI tool, for example, ChatGPT. Upload your CV onto ChatGPT and prompt it to then update your CV based on that job description. Why we encourage this as well is because the ATS has been set up in such a way that it's looking for particular keywords that are in the job description. So it is most probably going to take the people who from their CVs, it picks up certain keywords. And if you don't have those keywords that are aligning from the job description and your CV, it then will filter you out and take you almost as this person is not qualified for the job.
Now, that is very interesting. So we see that Novala's tagline is mindset coaching, performance and strategies. So how do concepts like self-awareness, managing anxiety and self-leadership leadership tie into career success?
Everything is about how you show up. It is the first impression that lasts forever. And when it comes to self-awareness, it is the most critical key to any individual, really, because the lack of you knowing yourself will limit you in terms of what you portray and put out there about you. If you don't know who you are, it is difficult for you to share with others who you essentially are. And through all our programs, the starting point for everything is always self-assessment, self-awareness. Let's find out, where is your confidence level, your self-esteem? If you're a student, what are some of your study or your learning assessments that you are comfortable with as an individual? Because from there onwards, then we can see what kind of tools can we practically assist you with to get you to where you want to get to. Because you can have, unfortunately, all the technical knowledge, but if you aren't able to show up confidently in an interview, that is unfortunately not going to be to your favor.
Yeah. So now let's look deep into what young people are doing in nowadays, because you've mentioned that you need to keep it simple. And people believe that overselling yourselves, get you the attraction that you need. We know that when you are adding on your CV to say, I can work under pressure, someone can come, a young person, with those lingo, say, what, ma'am, I can work under a lot of gang pressure, So now what do you think, what leads to people to oversell themselves when they have to write a CV so that they can get the attraction that they need?
I think it's similar to you don't know. If people don't know better, they will do what they assume is out there. And I want to caution everybody to just also be very careful in terms of who or what you follow online when it comes to, of course, these opportunities and job seeking opportunities. That's why I say it is important to have a LinkedIn account, because in LinkedIn, you are most probably communicating and seeing threads from recruiters, from people who are actually looking at CVs, who are sitting in interview rooms, and not just an influencer that is sitting on Instagram and saying, I want to get this many followers and I think, it's Youth Month and this is what's trending. You want to get the advice from experts, industry experts who have really sat through these and know what it's all about. And in so doing, you will then start to understand that the language you use, how important it is. Young people will say that they'll put on their CV effective communication. And as you said, I got the shock of my life yesterday. I was sent a text by a young person that wrote someone as SM1. And I was just like, whoa, what's going on? Is this how young people now speak? And for me, it doesn't make sense, because I was there in the times when Mixit came in and we still had those cell phones. And there was a reason to it, guys. And the reason was we were limited in terms of the characters you could use. We are no longer limited in the characters that you could use. So there is no need for you to write someone as SM1. But this is, of course, part of the coaching that happens, because unfortunately we build bad habits for ourselves once we go into the place of work. And you can imagine, if you are used to typing like this to individuals, I can assure you, you are going to make those errors when you have to type an email. So it starts already, even if you are at home, you are unemployed, you need to start building the good habits. And you start building those good habits in changing how you text and communicate, because unfortunately that habit is going to transfer into the place of work.
Yeah. And one of the things right now you're mentioning is, a lot of people suffering from English and grammar, in which now it makes it worse, because people are now running to AI, and you spoke about knowing how to prompt it. And that's when a lot of employers are able to detect some of the mistakes that, no, this was copied and just pasted, they did not even, just try to make things about themselves and add what they know about themselves. So what is the solution to that, so that we know that people no longer and avoid doing the same mistakes over and over again?
I think also we need to be very careful that AI is there to be a tool. It's an assistant tool. Don't look at AI and say that it is the God of all things and everything it does is accurate, because AI does do mistakes. And the biggest mistake that we as individuals do is that we don't take time to still proofread what AI might tell you to do. All right. It's important that you read these things. And if you believe that perhaps you are not at the standard of English or your grammar and so forth, always ask a friend, ask a neighbor, ask somebody else to say, Tate Sithole, please can you proofread this CV for me? I created it using ChatGPT, using an AI. Because yes, of course, remember I said the CV is to get you into the door. Okay, that's part one. So to do part one, and we can see when there is lack of attention to detail, when you have just taken whatever AI has said and you just copied and pasted and didn't apply yourself also into that. The other thing is AI, like any other computerized system, it puts out what you put in. So what I mean by that is, for example, we can all ask AI perhaps to draft an email. But this comes back to your self-awareness of yourself. When it returns back a certain email to you, because I am practicing the use of AI, am able to prompt it back and say, this is not the tone that I would use as an individual, because I am more of this kind of a person. But a lot of people don't do that, because AI gets prompt and starts understanding the personality of the person that is prompting it, and therefore personalizing it to yourself. But not many people do that. And that's why I say, as a young person right now, one of the skills that can assist you in closing the gap is for you to go and research these AI tools, practice how to use them, because also you're going to get that opportunity, get into the workplace. And AI is there for efficiency. Remember, I said it's an assistant tool. A task that might have taken you 5 hours in the past, an employer might say, you're coming in, you're my administrator, I expect you to do minutes in 1 hour. Why do they expect it in 1 hour? Because now there are note takers and there are all these other things to assist you in taking minutes, instead of in the past where you had to literally listen to the full meeting and then take down minutes. So it's about efficiency as well.
Yeah. Very interesting. And in the world and in an era of now people depending on AI and no longer doing those background checks so that they can improve how their CV looks like. Interesting things that you're saying right here. And then on YouTube, I have a Tlolane saying, be careful of what you follow online. I love that so much. And I think there's much to this on be careful on what you follow, because there are people who are doing content so that they can get numbers to say, you know what, guys, this is how you can prompt AI. This is how you need to build your CV so that you can be hired in the spaces that you're looking for. So right now, in terms of the impact and stats, and speaking about real change and outcomes, data shows that 90% of no-value students improve significantly in 3 months. What does that success look like in real terms?
So that success looks like somebody who didn't know at all how to draft their own CV, and then being able to draft that CV. Success is like somebody who has applied for 50 jobs, but after our training finally gets a call for that interview. In a lot of our sessions, what we do is we assess a person's knowledge of that particular topic. It could be interviews, it could be CV training. We assess that knowledge before we start the training. And then we assess their knowledge after the training to see, have they actually grasped the concept that we've taught to them? Remember, the critical thing for us is to give you practical tools to go and apply as you go forward in your journey, whether it can be an academic journey, whether it can be a journey that takes you into the world of the workplace, essentially, and how you can succeed as you go into that workplace. Because to us, it is about the outcome. We do what we do. Remember, we said it's to break the cycle of poverty through education, because we believe that should we impact a young person who is able to then have a successful CV, a successful interview, that translates into a job opportunity, which not only impacts that person's life, but the life of their family, their community, and overall society.
Very profound ways right there. Break the cycle of poverty through education. And at least to education is the key to success. So right now we are in the 1st of July, and all we want to see and all we want to hear is actions, right? So July action and the listener takeaway, encouraging our people who are listening and watching in terms of the next steps that they need to take. As we start July, what action can our people who are watching right now and listening take in the next 2 weeks to refresh their job hunt, whether through Novalo or self-led development?
Definitely. And we're all about self-led development. And that's why I say young people, we have access to so much in this day and age, and make use of that. Go and find out online. So one of the key takeaways that I want to recommend to everybody is, should you have a CV right now, go onto a website called resumeworded.com. So resumeworded.com. What this does, on resumeworded.com, you are able to upload your current CV. And what it will do is give you an ATS score. So remember I spoke about the applicant tracking systems, which is what is now used in this day and age when you apply for a job. That tool will then assist you to give you a score and guide you in terms of how equipped is your CV for those ATS systems. So that's the one practical tool that I think everybody can take away today. The other is, I do encourage you to follow us as Novalo and see perhaps, awesome, I see you've already started sharing it, to follow us as Novalo and see what promotional or complimentary training sessions we have, and to join in these training sessions, and also then perhaps get access to some of the newsletters where we do share some nuggets and tips for young people when it comes to either the job search or the academic journey, to those listening who are still currently perhaps studying, whether it may be at an FET college or it might be at at a university or anywhere else.
Very interesting to hear that. And we have learned so much on what to avoid, when drafting our CVs. And one of the funny things that I came across is this guy who wrote on his CV on skills that he has a lot of integrity, so he promised not to steal off his suppliers and take them home.
Yep. And then you go and you take 2 pens instead of one at the office. And I'm like, guys, it's in the small things. It really is in the small things. For example, I've been using this example. People say, I on their CV, they'll say, I pay attention to detail. And then I get the CV and there is grammar errors already. And I'm like, what happened to the detail? So the other bit, don't lie, guys. And now we have AI and so forth. Please, let's not lie. We will catch you out if you lie. Because in as much as I say the CV gets you into the door, you want, when you get into the door, to have the same representation. And this is where the personal branding element comes in. The person who shows up must be consistent with the person who submitted the CV.
Very interesting. Mr. Tulisile, thank you so much for joining us right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show. So if anyone wants to get hold of you guys, where can they find you?
So they can also, if they want more information about our products, they can email us on info@novalo, NO-VALO, .com. They can also follow us on all social media platforms, also on our YouTube page, where we will be uploading, and there are other videos uploaded there where we do share some nuggets and some advices and so forth on those platforms, on our Instagram and also on our LinkedIn page. If they follow us there, they will then be the first ones to find out about these promotional events that we have, such as the CV Masterclass that we had in June of this month.
Thank you, and have a good day ahead of you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It was great being with you all. Take care.
Very wonderful. 29 minutes past 9, it is the time, and the conversation we were in was with Tulisile Mkidi, certified coach and general manager at Novalo Learning Center. Right now, what we're going to do is to take a short break, and then when we come back, we are going to welcome one and our last guest, which is Mr. Stembi Soste, the speaker Njingila, right here to speak anything public affairs right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show. So it's a conversation conversation that you do not want to miss. And we are live on YouTube. Use the hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show just to verse with us right here. And also, if you want to call us in, the number to do that it's 060-493-3226. 060-493-3226. So for now, let us take a short break, and then when we come back, we get right into it.
Hey family.
Hi. My name is Tisiga Mazbugo Shabalala.
My name is Moketi Maimane.
My name is Musi Mist.
My name is Ketsu Mgunu.
On the Vooka
Breakfast Show.
Every weekdays from 7 a.m.
to 10 a.m.
This is where we are going to have our topical discussion featuring various experts from different fields.
We're going to take care of you, and it's going to be amazing, man. Right now, I'm on the set of the Vooka Breakfast Show, brought to you by the Blink-On Network.
Do not forget to subscribe.
That's Vooka Breakfast Show on Facebook and all other social media platforms.
Vooka.
See you there.
Escape the ordinary and discover the extraordinary with Swell Appeal Tours. Whether you're a group of friends or a family looking for a memorable getaway, Swell Appeal Tours has you covered. Our all-inclusive tours take you to South Africa's most stunning destinations, from the scenic beauty of Mpumalanga to the vibrant life of Gauteng and the coastal charm of Durban.
This is Ted, the Wild Irish comedian. You're watching Vooka Breakfast Show. Tune in every morning, Monday to Friday. Well, yeah, some people also made me. Yes.
Wow.
10 o'clock, and you are still watching the Vooka Breakfast Show. Your energetic start to your day, and accompanied by that daily dose of positivity. And of course, man, still giving you those good vibes and enjoying what the show has, man. Conversation we were about, and we just had was with Tulisile Mkiti, certified coach, and also Mr. Taiseho Makwina, right there at the author of Tiseg, right? And as promised before the break, that you're about to get into the conversation, everything public affairs with us, Tembiso Stay, the speaker, Njengela, right here. But before we do that, man, we are joined by the one and only Mr. Mist. How are you doing this morning?
My good sir, Mr. Mo, how's it going, man?
Yeah, man, good, man. Just
Great
enjoying what Tuesday is bringing.
Yes, definitely, man. It's a brand new week. I was telling TC yesterday, Mo, I don't know if you heard that conversation, that I would have really preferred if the month started with the new day.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah, it would have been so great. But anyway, look, man, I'm sure you've been enjoying the conversations that have been taking place up till now. But you know that you're always spending some quality time with myself, the one and only MOOCEE Mist. My name is Musi Mist, and I'm so excited. I'm happy to be in your presence and in your company on a brand new month. And but of course it is the second day of the week, the 1st of July 2025, on a Tuesday morning. The weather is not too bad. It's not too cold. It's bearable. If I'm not wearing like a jersey and I don't have an extra jersey in the office, it's not too bad, Mo. It's not too bad. But like Mo has just said, look, man, we're going to jump into a great conversation with a great guy. I remember about a month ago, Mo, remember we were doing birthdays, and I mentioned that Steve was celebrating his birthday.
This
is the man that I was talking about, man. Such an amazing guy. I met Steve quite a while ago, a little over 10 years ago, actually. Since we've known each other, and all the moments we've shared together have been great. So you perhaps wondering what the conversation is going to be about. Look, man, as June ends, we've celebrated, right? We've shouted and we've debated, and we've also, I think, more a bit remembered. We've remembered a bit what being a youth person or young in the country means, right? And we've also shared hashtags throughout the entire youth month. But what comes for me is that from the inspiration and the aspiration that comes with Youth Month, now is the time for implementation in the month of June. And what happens is that we are reflecting a bit, right? Because June is quite a powerful month, I think, in our country. True. And there's parallels, of course, between the history that we have as the Black society in South Africa and the history that the Black society in America has experienced as well. So it's quite reflective and trying to draw the differences and the similarities, of course, between the two. So, but with that being said, welcome, Mr. Te.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. We appreciate you taking your time, my brother. So on this Tuesday, we like choosing, saying, choose must kete. So who do you think this week comes to mind for you to choose? On a Tuesday like this one?
Oh man, I choose my kids.
Yes, sir. Hey, come on. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Mr. Stede, let's get into it. What I like doing in more than most cases is that I like getting into the person first.
For sure.
Before getting into the space that the person or the spaces that the individual is involved in, right? Because I think what happens is that it helps us create a bit of a narrative.
Absolutely.
And draws a slightly brighter and clearer picture.
Sure.
If you understand who Musi Mist is as an individual first, before getting to know what he does as a broadcaster, as a performing artist, and all of these other things that he might do. So let's get into it. Take him out, and how do you eventually get to the space of being the catalyst?
I think you would do it better. You'd say, I'm just a nobody.
Yes, sir. Try to tell everybody. Yes, sir. I love it. I love it.
Man, just a ninja from Ezola's taste, Tembiso Nchingile.
Yeah.
How do I get to becoming a catalyst? Shoo.
Yeah.
Yay, my God. All right, so look, the journey starts back in the township Ezola Mdeni. I grew up in an organization called the Personal Concept Project.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Mdeni. I think I joined when I was 13, yeah? And the entire thing was about teaching young people how to be self-sufficient and, having positive self-concepts. So you take that coming from a family, guguno auntie, guguno mamncane, so there's that background as well. And I usually say to people, my whole education was in the townships because even UJ, Bela Pimville.
Oh, yes. Oh, you went to the Soweto campus?
No, I wish I went to Kingsway.
Yeah.
So I did that. And I think moving from that, I joined an organization called ISEC, which is an international student organization. I think we met.
Yes, while you were in the in ISEC, during your varsity days.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what they were thinking. They elected a guy from Ezola to become their president. But apparently it was fun to have me there.
Yeah.
And the entire thing about the organization is giving students an opportunity to sort of do work outside of the country, but as volunteers. But the whole ethos is that if we make friends outside of the country, then we tend to have better social cohesion with certain countries when we become leaders. So if I've been to America, the next time I'm president and I think about sending a bomb to America, it becomes a bit tough because I have friends there.
Yes.
And so that's the ethos of the organization. And then I left that. I joined Blue Rain and I was a social marketer. So I think our last client was Nokia. I don't like telling the story because people said, oh, so you were part of the people that killed
I see.
And I said, no, we were trying to revive this thing.
Yes,
when Microsoft joined it. Got an opportunity to work at KPMG.
Yes.
It's quite interesting. So again, moving from Ezola, and I met some cool people from KPMG and I joined the firm. So there were two CEOs when I was there.
Yeah.
One is the chief executive officer and the other was the chief experience officer. That was me.
Yeah.
So I was CEOing myself from Ezola as well.
Yes.
And there I learned, a bit about HR, I learned a bit about strategy, I learned a bit about labor relations and about young people in our country, who joins the workforce and who doesn't and how different people get treated when they're in the workspace. And then I left that. Now I went into my true calling.
Yeah.
Sold chickens.
Poultry. Yeah. I remember I mentioned.
You mentioned that.
Yes.
Opened something around catering as well.
Yes.
Yeah, because at home, and those tables, so went into that as well. Went into MCing.
Yes.
Yeah, facilitating people's weddings and birthday parties and I guess I was using just the background from where I grew up as a peer facilitator and into that space. And I think today I'm what people would call a catalyst. You know what catalyst in science, a substance that speeds up a chemical reaction without being used.
Yes.
It itself. The catalyst.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get into a space, you speed up processes,
Yes.
and then you get out.
Yes.
And that's what I do as an organizational strategist. I work with a fascinating man who's my mentor called Pili Silikan. He's an interesting person. In fact, I think one day when he's free, he never is. We
He should
try
make
and get him,
time. Yeah,
to get into the
definitely.
show. There's another guy from a township, another ninja, another skibbe
Yes.
from Tembisa as well.
Yeah.
So I think we are aligning as far as that background is concerned, and perhaps what we think the future should look like for South African young people. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's very interesting, some of the things that you mentioned, because when you look, into what is happening abroad, even nationally, because I just like what you mentioned, that the organization was also into those diplomatic relationships with other countries, because you only thought that hampered only, on a very huge national stage, whereby the USA, goes out there and have a relationship with South Africa. It's all about Donald Trump and Cyril Ramaphosa, because that's what we thought, Uguti. Those are the people who are, eligible to find a common ground relationships with other countries. But no, there are organizations that deal with that.
On the ground,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, of course, I think right now what we're looking for is steps forward.
Yeah.
As much as you are
Yeah.
an organizational strategist, right? So our country has a lot of things, and one of the work that you do is to implement some of those strategies.
Absolutely.
To bring and empower young people in the communities.
Absolutely.
Which is very powerful. So I think some of the things that we're going to be touching into is youth employment also.
Absolutely.
The impact, that it has.
Yeah.
And how can we improve on that? What is the strategy when it comes to that?
In fact, I want to touch on this thing of Cyril Ramaphosa and,
Yes.
and Donald
And
Trump.
Donald.
And
I saw you voiced out your thoughts.
I did, and I'm
on
still
on
going
on,
to.
on Facebook. Yeah.
So I said, you see, that meeting, what it was the final exam
For Ramaphosa.
for Cyril Ramaphosa.
Yes, sir.
In his entire career. This was a final exam that was administrated by Donald Trump and South Africa middle class. And perhaps I'll explain. So if you look at the career of President he started as a unionist somewhere. I think some people say, in fact, he was a police officer of the apartheid state security.
Okay.
And then he became a unionist, and then he became part of that Mandela crew, and then he became a business person. Now the final step, I think what was actually happening there, we were being asked as a country, are you now guys going to take the stance of Zimbabwe? You remember when Robert Mugabe said,
Yes.
Blair, you keep your Britain and
I'll keep my resources.
Zimbabwe.
Yes.
And the question that was being asked to Cyril was that, is South Africa going to take
Positioning itself
the way that Robert Mugabe did, or are you still continuing on the trajectory of growing the middle class, being a capitalist state? And Cyril, given his career as it were, he was the perfect person to go and answer that question.
Yes, definitely.
In fact, what he went there to say is that, no, master, we're still towing the line. don't sanction us. Don't be funny.
Yeah.
And I said to my friends when we were talking about this, it's very interesting. When someone bullies you and they say, Zokshay, I'll beat you up, you must go out into the field where everyone can see you and say, next, so that you don't find yourself in a Gaddafi kind of situation. You don't find yourself in a Robert Mugabe kind of situation where you are now being isolated, but no one really knows why happened.
And the reason behind it.
Absolutely. So Cyril went and he did this entire thing so that the whole world sees Uguti Machenza Snaka.
Yes. Not at fault. Wow.
Yeah. Interesting thing. But then I said in the article, and I'll cut it here, but if this was the best thing that Cyril Ramaphosa did for South Africa, but for who exactly in South Africa? Because South Africa is such a divided nation. And I say the best person that he was acting on behalf of was the middle class as South Africa. The people who want to continue buying Ama BM, Nama Mercedes, Nama VW. And then there's a whole lot of us who EPM, the Mercedes is just a dream away. And it will remain that. So the question is, the way he answered that question, is it good for the layman Stratin? And the showing of Julius as well there, so that you separate, because Julius says, I'm for the people.
Definitely.
And Cyril says, I'm for the middle class.
Yeah.
I don't know. South Africa PTY LTD.
Very, very interesting. And Mwanakoha, you're perhaps wondering whose Tear the Catalyst is. Look, man, on this Tuesday, you know that we always try to bring you all things personal finances. And of course, accompanied with public affairs. And these are the conversations that you and I need to have in and around our communities. In studio, we're joined by Tear. We've got a voice who's lived a journey from Ezola to some global spaces, has had conversations with great leadership and is a leadership strategist himself, a keynote speaker and a people developer. And today we're unpacking some burning questions. One of them being that Mo is South Africa a company, right? Is it being run like a broken company? Another one is that we know that we live among our brothers and sisters from other neighboring countries in Africa, right? So our foreign nationals running, or really the reason that you and I as youth people are not finding jobs. Yeah. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. And then the other conversation is that, is it time for young people to stop expecting handouts and do things for themselves? One of the things that we say here as the Vooka, the breakfast show, is that Vooka's and Zel. Yeah. And it's a play on the word Vooka, right? The VOOKA. So we're really about that. And I think it also goes back to what was happening on Saturday at the Protea Glen Mall. They had the Youth Business Launchpad, where they were bringing in local businesses.
That was exciting.
Very
exciting.
local businesses. We actually had quite a few of them come through to studio from Monday all the way to Friday last week, showcasing what they're about and where the core business is. And this is aimed at trying to bring back the Soweto economy into the hands of the black people, of the black person. Because a whole lot of, and it's unfortunate, but a whole lot of our economy in Soweto is being run by our counterparts. Authentic products that we think the catering business or the poultry business is being funded by someone in Four Ways. It's being funded by someone in Santon. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So these are some of the conversations that we're jumping into. So with that being said, let's jump into the first one. And I think the one that you just touched based on, especially in relation to what has been happening with the government of new national unity and the conversation of Donald Trump and stuff like that. So do you think that the country is being run like a broken company?
So look, when you talk about South Africa, you have to go back in history.
Yes, sir.
So when did the country start? So we had the Union of South Africa. Yeah. When there were 4 Cape colonies. Of course, the country began way back,
before that.
But that history is buried somewhere.
Yes.
No one teaches you that.
Yes.
But when you research South Africa and you Google, the first thing you'll see is Union of South Africa. So 4 British colonies come together. They create what is called a country, and then we report to the king.
Yes.
So a president of South Africa at some point was the queen.
The queen, yes, Queen Elizabeth. Yes.
So now it's the king person.
Yes.
But so and then about 1960s we became a republic.
Yes.
So that then we were recognized as an independent country. And from that, you then have to say, when we became a republic, the ties that we had with the queen, how were they broken? Right? How much were they severed? Yeah. Whenever we elected president in the country, they have to go and bow to the queen still.
First, yes.
So you have to ask the question, what is that about? But you go back in history and you realize that when the country was built, it was first a union of what that was led by the queen. So the people we elect must go bow to the queen. Is this then the company of the queen? I don't know. But you have to. Literally, Umpegi went, Ramaphosa went, I think no Msholozi went.
Really?
I think
no way. So you're saying in recent history?
Yeah. Whenever we elect, they go.
That
and
they
vote
they
to tell the queen
UK,
everything is still fine, right? But okay, so I'll leave that to you. I'll leave that
to the public, of course.
Okay, sure.
Those ideas. In terms of the country, so I developed that argument I made at first, Uguti. You have to look at what Cyril did to understand Uguti. He understands Uguti. South Africa is a PTY LTD in some way, shape, or form, right? Because, the people are not governing here. No, guys, let's talk about this. The people are not governing. You know that preamble in the Constitution that the people shall govern?
Yes.
No. The middle class governs. And this is why we all go to school, so that we aspire to become a part of the middle class. These are the people you find online. These are the people you find on, I still call it Twitter.
Yes, X.
These are the people you find on the platforms that we are on.
Yeah.
I have to say this, and it's because I'm aware of time, so I'm trying to just
No,
think and
don't
speak
worry,
fast,
yeah.
yabo? But there are so many South Africans that are not part of the public debate. But somehow, most of us who are in the public debate think we are the majority. When in fact we are not. A majority of South Africans are in the rural areas.
Definitely.
They're not in the townships or in the suburbs. And so how do those people's voices get heard into these platforms that we are in? So when there's no electricity and we complain and we make this electricity thing a big issue in the country, the question is, do you know how many people get electricity from Eskom? I don't know, but I can tell you, it's not necessarily the majority of the people in the country.
True.
Well, the government has tried. So we make this thing in Eskom as if it's a national crisis. No, it's a crisis for the people that are in the middle class.
The middle class.
The people that get electricity for free or they pay for it, whatever. It's not just limited to electricity, running water as well. A good number of our people still get amanzi from the rivers. So you see, you'll see these things on social media, and we say there's a water crisis in the country. No, there's a water crisis for the middle class.
Wow.
Not for
the
everyone.
No.
Yes, not for everyone.
A majority of our people are still living in situations that most of us, if we were going to be put in them, we're not going to survive. But we speak as though we are the country. And the government treats us like that as well. Our voices get heard as if we are the majority, when in fact we are not the majority. Quite frankly, the number of people who have degrees in our country, like you hold a professional degree, or rather a degree, because I can't say professional. If you say professional, it's engineer, lawyer, and
Sure.
education.
Sure.
And if you hold a degree, the number of people that hold a degree in our country, I think I was reading not too long ago, Abelungu, just 29% of white people have degrees.
Okay.
About 4% between black and colored people have degrees. But you know how many people you know are educated? You think by
people, yes.
It's because you are in that space.
Yeah.
You are part of the middle class. You and you and you and you.
All of us.
So you start to think and to live in this bubble when, quite frankly, a majority of people in our country don't have education.
Hey,
do you
very
feel like?
interesting, man.
Do you think though, more because this is very interesting for me to find out some of these things, you know? And I think what we tend to do, and these are some of the conversations we've had, Libotomsane with Mr. B as well, is that. We tend to think, and it's an interesting point that you just raised. But do you think that it's somewhat of a social conditioning that we go through, because you are surrounded by musicians or you're surrounded by doctors, you tend to think that everyone is a doctor. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You're surrounded by abonyaopekas, people who smoke drugs and abuse alcohol and all of those things. You tend to think, no, everyone is living that way. Do you think it's a social conditioning, specifically to the middle class?
It is. It certainly is. In fact, what that does, it enables me to then push the conversation further into those foreign national issues. So we start to think that foreigners are taking our jobs, right? Because we live in that bubble where there's Zimbabweans, where there's people from Mozambique, and we see them, but not necessarily everywhere. Now there's the new joiners, Pakistan. And I think the question that you had posed was, are they taking our jobs? Again, you have to go back in history and understand what migrant labor is. Do you know who were the first migrant laborers in South Africa?
I won't lie.
Amazulu, Namasuthu, Namaxhosa.
They came here.
I like what you just said. We came to South Africa. Black people came to South Africa. Because you were living in the Bantustans.
Oh, yeah.
So you had to come into the cities so that you are the first migrant laborers. Guess who were the second migrant laborers in South Africa?
Wow.
Indians.
Okay.
Indians.
When they landed in Durban.
How? And
for trading purposes. And
No, for plantations.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, Amazulu, they did not want to work in farming umoba.
Okay.
Because think about it, how we lived.
Okay.
What we were, you grow up a kaya gune inkom.
Yes.
And there's chickens. And guchali were somewhere there.
Yes.
Right? So that's how you live, substantial farming.
Yes.
And then these guys come and say, okay, you have to stop all of this and you have to start working for someone. Amazulu said, so the most part of Impi Amazulu and white people was around that. Zulus did not want to work. So now they devised, an idea that we are going to get the people from India to come work. And so they landed in Phoenix. That's how Indians landed in South Africa, the history that is. So those are the second migrant laborers, or other laborers. So when we talk about foreigners taking our jobs, go into history, understand that at some point you yourself were a foreigner. So don't be fooled by the sloganeering that says foreigners. You have to know the numbers. You have to understand what the numbers. How many foreign people are employed, and in which spaces are they employed exactly before you start saying they are taking our jobs. Migrant labor is important. I mean, Google this. Migrant work is important. There's work that people who've traveled will do that we will not do.
Definitely.
It's just the spirit thereof. America was built on the backbone of migrant laborers. People who've left home, who don't necessarily have the burdens that we would have, and they've come here to work and to build a system and to better their countries. So let me stop this by saying, it would be better if the government takes charge of that conversation. I don't like what we did in 2008. I don't like what we did in 2016 and 2021. What happened in 2008 was the first time we attacked people from outside the country.
Yes.
Zimbabwe. And we're fetching them from our back rooms. It's the most weirdest thing. And then we fetched them there. It was okay when they were paying rent. So we did the same thing with Pakistan. Because, they use our spaces.
The lootings,
And then we are the ones who loot as well. Give me a second. I have to develop this idea.
Sure.
I said to a friend of mine, this is not xenophobia. This is black people fighting. This is the people, not the middle class. This is the people trying to say to government, we are here, we exist, don't ignore us. So in trying to raise that voice, we are going to attack the most vulnerable members of our society, which are the least protected, and they are the foreigners. Right? So at some point, we tried to go for the most protected ones. Guess when was that? 2021.
With the lootings.
We tried.
With the lootings,
You know where we were going there? We were going to Santini.
Yes.
But Ramaphosa and the people, they were very clear that you are not going
if you can't come into these spaces.
This is not xenophobia. I usually say South Africans love people from other countries.
Everywhere, all over the world.
Whenever we see foreigners, people who don't understand, we try to make them understand. Go to Hector Peterson. You'll find a person who's
a Russian person.
Right? And you try to assist them. This is who we are. But the economics don't allow that social cohesion happens in the way that we want it. The economics are so difficult. Again, Mo, give me a second. I have to say this. Imagine you live in a house, 16-room house.
Yeah.
And then the person who sells it to you, they say, I'm going to live in the cottage. You take the 16-room house. Ne? But in the 16-room house, they only give you keys to 4 rooms. And then they remain with the other keys for the other rooms. And then they say, you are only going to play in the 4 rooms. I'm talking about the land issue.
Sure.
So then you only play in the 4 rooms. They can access the other rooms as and when they want to. In fact, sometimes they don't even live in the yard. This is the power that people who have land use. White people go and live in
Australia
and whatever.
New Zealand and all of those countries.
So when your frustration is that now your mother or your parents have an agreement with your aunt and uncle that your other siblings will come live in this house. We're in this 4-room. So I say to people, before you become part of a march that says they must go, understand what the economics are. In the sense that the reason Ufilangati, the foreigners, are squashing our spaces is because you only have access to 4 rooms of our house.
But you also recognize that there's an abundance of space.
There is, but you just don't know. Do you know how much money white people have?
No.
No one knows.
Because
there was no audit after we took over to understand exactly who holds what. People, I mean, there's people who know, but that knowledge is just not being used. I think there's a guy called Piketty, he's an economist. This is the argument he raised, is that you guys don't know how much middle class and white people how much money they have. So this is why you can't say, whatever. But instead you'll attack
bring back
the money. You'll attack the vulnerable members of the community, which are the people who are also holding sense. So let's go back into history, understand what migrant labor is, and then you take it from there before you make your argument. I'm not saying that we don't have that kind of a problem, but I'm saying it's not placed, it's not rightly placed.
Conversation is still
Interesting.
Continuing right there on YouTube, we still have we have some few comments coming in through. I
Yeah.
saw there Mr. Osvaldo saying good morning family. Good morning Mr. Osvaldo. And then TK saying great peaceful and rising Mavuka amahle sawubona stay. And then hashtag Sivugile. And then she comes back and say SA the conglomerate. I've been saying stay over here speeding facts.
Yeah, man.
And then she's like brands like Modern Mbadada are inspired by the stories of migrant workers. Joe, what an interesting history lesson right there,
Yes, sir.
from Zinzi Elizabeth. And then TC comes back to say, what really gets us as a society is the way the language we use is used against
Definitely, I
us.
agree.
Language helps
Sure.
to shape ideas
And
and
thoughts.
thoughts. And then Zinzi comes back and say, I remember my teacher in high school once said, lack of knowledge
It's
is
dangerous. It's dangerous. Completely. And I think more what happens is, this is my argument, Tim. And this is a conversation I had, I remember last year during election period, right?
Yeah.
What I see and my perspective and my outlook on the country's affairs in general is that, especially as a black society, I don't think, and this is an argument we had with Utumsane from Sebenza Nathi Waste Management and Itumele Ndiale, one of our administrators there in the back office, right? He says that the black card is still valid in 2025.
Okay.
This is Itumele.
Sure.
Me and Tumsane and myself argue. I strongly argued for it and say no.
Okay.
And my basis of my argument is that the black card was valid about 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Okay.
Because the black individual in the black society was not knowledgeable and informed.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Now we are not. I mean, look, Ntoning has been talking about AI tools. Do you think 30 years ago we were in a position to talk about AI tools?
No.
So my argument is that you can't. The black card is not valid. You can't use it in the sense that you are in a position, and we're living in a time where we have access to all of this knowledge and information that we didn't have access to 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, so what I believe is that the black society, the black person in the black society specifically, is actively, purposefully restricting themselves from acquiring this knowledge and information. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So you can't say, white people, they're doing this. And sure, the argument is valid to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And this is now when we delve a bit deeper into some of the conversations that you're talking about, right? But you can't say, I can't go to school.
Yeah.
I can't get into these spaces. Do you get what I'm trying? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, let me jump in there.
Sure.
So I'm going to do what we call strawman fallacy.
Okay.
We say that in philosophy. I'm going to attack the man.
Okay.
I'm not going to attack his argument.
Sure.
You know why you're saying that? You're saying that because you're part of middle class. You're saying that because you are okay.
Yeah.
And therefore, you think it's okay to say that we can't play the black card anymore. Because you're okay.
Do you think it's still valid
because look, when you look at your future prospects, you can see a future.
Okay.
I can tell you now that the scores, and there's a majority of black people that can't see a future. Unfortunately, we don't live and don't see those people. You have to drive down to a KZN, Gamshabuyalingana, go to Cape Town, but use a car and drive. You literally see people that you have never thought, or at least never imagined that they still exist in
living
South
in those
Africa.
kinds of conditions.
What I mean is, upege izindlu zabantu, and then upege the way the ladies are dressed, upege the way the gents are dressed, almost as if ancient times. I'm not saying that they don't have, they're not aware of AI and whatever, but in terms of access, let's talk about access here, 5G, so Vodacom, MTN, and not necessarily to mention brands, but all those providers. Ask them ukuthi coverage yabo in South Africa ingakanani. It's not 100%. But there's people who live in spaces where if you said to them, you have to upload something on ChatGPT today, they'll ask you, upload.
ChatGPT, yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Upload. But I tell you, those people exist. Unfortunately, we don't see them. And therefore, the government has to enact laws like BBBE and affirmative action. Therefore, the black card is still necessary because what it does, it says to someone like Humusi, so you're starting a business. At Humusi, yes. Who are you? And says, I'm a black young person. Cool. Do you have a lady in your business? Now you have to go back to KZN and fetch your cousin. You see, it forces you to do that. Had the government not necessarily had that law, you would have done it by yourself. And this is what middle class and white people have been doing all along. They are able to do business by themselves without us. And what a law like BE does, or triple BE, it says to them, you cannot do government, or rather business with government, if you don't have black partners. It's not necessarily because we just want black faces there.
No.
We are saying because you have access to the, remember, 16 rooms and all the tools that are in those rooms, we want you to take a black person along.
Yeah.
As you navigate those other 8 rooms, because you've only left them in the 4, we want you to have a black person with you. So it's not just a black man anymore. Because the black man, when he's traversing those spaces, they ask him, where's the black woman?
Yeah.
When the black woman is in that space, they ask, where's the black youth? That's what this law does. Therefore, the black card is still important, because what we are saying is that for the most part, we are only allowed access, and that word is very important, to the 4 rooms. What they have inside of them, like what is in Soweto? You know, go to the East End. There's more life there.
Yes.
I can't qualify that, but at least I see that there's more life
as
now.
in December,
particularly because there's firms there. There's industrial spaces.
Industrialization,
A lot of people in the East End are employed. A lot of people in Pretoria are employed because of how, you know, those neighborhoods are set up. There's places of work next to. Hey, in Soweto, it's just one empty room esashiwa kulo. Kwathiwa nizohlala sajabula ke nathi phela ngoba sikhona emkhukhwini, you know. But I'm telling you that in this house there's 8 other rooms that we have not explored, and we don't have keys to those rooms. And our government enacts laws that enables us to traverse those spaces. Our responsibility is that when you are in that space, take another person along.
Hey, Mr. Stay. Yeah, I think right now the spirit that we are heading into, because there's a conversation, man, is very encouraging, you know, to a lot of South Africans. Because as much as we spoke about, you know, is South Africa considered this huge company, you know?
Yeah,
and now, I mean, a normal citizen will ask, Guguti, is this country still ours? Because we need to find the solutions into, okay, how do we work onto this? So in terms of bridging the gap, how do we bridge the gap between everyday citizens and powerful decision makers that we see today?
And I'll take it even further. And it's very interesting that you mentioned triple BEE. Because what we saw as a country, early 2000s, right? Just after democracy was instilled and the first democratic black president was elected, right? What we saw was with the implementation of triple BEE, there was now an elite, a black elite that was formulated.
Middle class.
Yeah, there was a black elite that was formulated where we started seeing our black brothers and sisters moving out of the townships now, moving into suburban areas, into the north. And for me, the concept of the north still baffles me, because it comes off as a social conditioning as well. The north is considered the north of the world. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So even in our spaces, when you live in the north, it's like, do you get what I'm trying to say? And the south being Africa, specifically the southern part of the world, right? Where where now it brings into things like geography and the equator, the north versus the south, the west versus the east, right? And we still have those things. I remember Namokasimo growing up, west, that's the east. I mean, this area, and I'm sure he would remember because he grew up this side more. This place was, to this day, is still regarded as Istanbul. Last corner, man, Motopsenville, right?
I brought my thing. I brought my thing from Meso.
And Topsenville extension, because it's an extension of Topsenville, of old Topsenville, where now the new houses were being built, and houses that were slightly a bit nicer was considered as west. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think there's still that conditioning where if you're in the north of a certain place, a community, a country, an environment, however you want to refer to it, it's considered but when you move towards the south, we understand. So how do we bridge the gap, especially when we saw the implementation of triple BE in the early 2000s and a black elite being formed in our black societies and within triple BEE?
Yeah. So let's clarify this thing of BEE and triple BEE. What's the difference? So when they first enacted the law, BEE, it was what created that middle class that caused everyone frustration. No one liked it because only a few of us were selected to get access into the other rooms. When they changed this thing in 2013, or at least they made it better, and there's a better word I can use for that. They then said triple BE because they understood which it's not just about enacting black faces in white spaces, but there's something about ownership that has to change. There's something about management that has to change in already established companies. So I want to just clarify to say that when BE was first enacted, we saw that there was a problem. But in 2013, the law was remade so that it then takes everyone along in the way that I explained previously. Yeah? So that's one. In terms of then the North and how do we bridge the gap, I wonder if you guys are aware of Section 27 institutions. So Section 27 institutions, they take where they come from a constitution. With Section 27, these are lobby groups that use the courts to change people's livelihoods.
Okay.
So they don't toy these guys. So AfriForum, maybe, and maybe someone from AfriForum can call me and say I'm talking nonsense. AfriForum acts as a Section 27 company or rather institution. These are the people who use the law to change the fate of their people. So they go and say, in your constitution, you say everyone has the right to land. Then they make sure that everyone in their space gets land.
Oh, wow.
They say in the constitution, you say everyone has the right to access electricity and water.
Yes.
They then use the constitution to make sure that
our people should get electricity and water, Chief.
They don't toy. These things are not led by Usbuda nje ovuke ekseni what decide ukuthi namhlanje siyotoyitoya. No. These people have an agenda. They use the channels that are there. They use the system to change the fate of the communities. So I'm saying the gap, I think it should be bridged using such institutions. There's NGOs, Mokas. Look, when we tell our stories, we say it is NGOs that showed us that there's a better future. So there's NGOs, there's Section 27 institution, and there's self-agency as well. That I don't think which we can take out of the conversation. That at some point as a person, when you grow up, you have to realize and I have to do something. But I usually say you can't do that out of nowhere. In fact, there's a guy called Malcolm Gladwell who usually says we like to say abantu ba successful because they are hard workers. Malcolm Gladwell says no, the systems were created so that they become successful. But obviously there is a certain amount of self-agency that has to be there in order for you to be successful. So I'm saying work within the system in order for you to be successful. A lot of the times we waste time fighting the system. There's a guy called Wiseman Kuhl. Anyone knows Wiseman Kuhl?
No.
He's the first black chartered accountant in the country.
Wow.
Yeah? He's currently the chairman of Guys Ning Patal. I'm spitting, He's the first black chartered accountant. And for those who are interested, I'm a female. The first female black chartered accountant, Begu Nonkulego Gobodo. So guys, Google those people. These are the people who fought during apartheid to become. And if you read their stories, you understand they fought within the system to become. So we spend a lot of times fighting the
outside
system.
of the system.
Outside of it and trying to fight it.
With the lack of the necessary knowledge and information to actually penetrate into the system.
There's no time to be a martyr now. That thing ended a long time ago.
I mean, very interesting. It says here, Section 27 of the South African Constitution deals with the right to access to healthcare, food, water, and social security. It outlines that everyone has the right to basic necessities and that the state has a responsibility to take responsible measures to progressively realize these rights. Additionally, it means, or it rather mandates, that no one can be refused emergency medical treatment.
Also check out Section 29.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff, man.
Yeah, man. And then TC comes through right there on YouTube saying, live outside Joe's and see life. Musi. Lol, many Joe bakers speak from a place of certain level of privilege. Kunamakasi in places where nobody has ever used a computer in their lives.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then Osvaldo comes with a question saying, how does land redistribution solve the economic challenge?
Look, the economy in our country is in the land. The gold is in the land.
Yeah, that's being occupied.
The diamonds are in the land.
By the minority.
I have to say, yes, I agree with the fact that has shifted a little bit, because someone said, what land does Mark Zuckerberg have? He doesn't have land, Mark Zuckerberg, but he owns money. So yes, there is a shift. However, we cannot ignore the fact, Yoguti, the primary basis of our economics in our country is gold and diamonds. And if you don't have access to that land, then we are shiega, one. But not only gold and diamonds, the ability to plant. Do you know how they forced people to work in the mines? They shifted them from fertile land.
Okay.
So that subsistence farming is no longer viable. Guys, come on. You guys. So when they moved black people from certain spaces into some spaces, they gave them, is it arable land? What does arable land mean?
Arable land.
I'd be lying.
Arable, I think it means, it means habitable and you can plant in it. So they moved them from those kind of spaces into, okay, let me slow down so that means when settlements happened in the past, they happened near a river.
Yes.
Because that's where life was.
Yes.
When they moved you into spaces where they can supply you with water.
Yes.
But this water you have to pay for. In order to pay for this water, you have to work.
Yes.
And this is how they move you into the mines. Kankani. You understand? So it becomes important that I have access to land where there's a river so that I can self-actualize in the way that I want. What is success for an African person? Is it working at KPMG?
No.
Maybe not. Maybe it is for some of us for sure.
Yeah.
But what is success for a typical African person? Maybe kuba neinkomo. Right? Ubaba mu neinkomo eyiningi. You can't say that today if you don't have land. Maybe it is to have gum trees, to have sugar plantation, and to use AI still, to use drones to manage your farm. So I'm not saying that we should be left behind because we are fascinated by cows. No, we're going to use our drones to manage our cows. But if you don't have land, you don't have cows.
But now let's speak into this whole notion of now Gauteng being overpopulated.
Sure.
So what do you think is happening? What do you think is happening in the background that we are seeing a lot of people from all over these provinces now coming to this province itself, the smallest province
in the country,
in the country.
Sure.
We come here, we are overpopulated to a point that now in the education space, they're like, we need to build more 200 schools now.
Sure.
So that we can accommodate all of the learners. What do you think is happening in the background?
It's not so difficult.
Yeah.
I'll go back to my analogy. Remember, go for a room house.
Yes.
One of these rooms in this house has a cinema kind of room.
Okay.
Yeah? So what do you guys call them? The big screen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It has a big
Projection
screen,
and stuff like
it has
that.
projector. It was all the nice sound. Yeah. Nama popcorn. Not what. Do you not think that everyone who lives in this house will want to occupy that room?
Obvious.
Very
want the big screen.
you're right.
So until you get access to the other 8 rooms, which even your government does not have access to, then you can start spreading people across. Until you start developing those other rooms as well. So the state needs to develop capability, because one of the things that we are fascinated about, ukushintsha ijozi silibize Mandela what? Why singakhi ijozi lethu? Taking Pritchard Street and calling it
Nsingila Street.
No, why? No, Nsingila must go and build his own street. But he can't. You know why? He doesn't have access to the other 8 rooms.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting that you mentioned that, and the question, I love it as well, because it takes me back to something I came across on TikTok, right? This person posts, hey guys, technology sometimes, and now I'm understanding what you mean, Moti. When you are surrounded by so many things, you don't actually realize and think about that there's quite more people who might not be
majority.
Majority of people. So this guy goes, guys, and like nothing KP. Chief, you've never had like a superstar. There's no concerts. They don't have what's happening in Northern Cape.
We're not on the map, but yet we look like
it's
biggest
the biggest
province.
It's the biggest province, and so I jump on the comments, right? Because now in Black society, media, social media specifically, you need to jump on the comments to get this information, right? So I jump on the comments and I start reading.
Yeah.
One of the comments says, go search for what, Northern Cape. I click on that and I search. Find out that one of, quite a lot of the richest and biggest mines in our country are in the Northern Cape. Some of the richest people in this country are in the Northern Cape. And so you start scrolling, and the houses are not so fancy. I'm getting 4 rooms you know, but I say 4 room ya mokasi, chief. Why this one is close to the mine. And now it breeds into the thing that why can't we develop such things like you're just mentioning? You know, Musi Maimane on Workers' Day, remember when we were out there more, he was mentioning that why do we have to drive out of Soweto as a majority of Sowetans? We leave our townships and we go to the north for work.
Sure.
Why can't I walk 10 minutes away from my house and work at a call center? Why can't I walk 10 minutes, 15 minutes from my house and go to a chartered accountant office? Do you get what I'm trying to say? And it's very interesting that you mentioned that. And these are some of the things that I think maybe we should start conditioning ourselves, especially as the Black society, as people who are slightly a bit more enlightened and a bit more informed to bring this information. I think this is a great platform as the Vooka Breakfast. So this is some of the things that we try to do. But now let's speak into the other question that we touched base on. Are foreign nationals taking the jobs of our fellow Black brothers and sisters in our country?
No.
Are they not? You don't think so?
No, I stopped there because we've already sort of spoken about
yes.
that. And if people want to argue, differently, I want to, like I said, what I'm saying to people is understand what the history is. And understand the numbers as well, because it's so easy to follow sloganeering. I tell you, it's so easy to say foreigners are full here, foreigners are taking our jobs, when you don't understand what the statistics are, because you are living in your own bubble. And until the numbers tell us that foreigners are taking our jobs, then maybe I'll join a Toy myself. But when the numbers don't tell you that, because the numbers don't lie unless someone wants them to lie, you know. But I don't think that's the case. And maybe I can move the conversation a little bit further, talk about young people as well.
Sure.
So what does this then mean for young people and employment? Ask me the question. So you have to ask me the question as the interview. Are you employed? Ask me, where am I employed?
Are you employed, Mr. Steve? For someone who doesn't, I mean, you and I spent a bit of time together in our social settings, right? And we talk about the spaces that we're involved in. But someone is wondering and saying, hey, Stay, you are speaking so well, Chief, so eloquently. You have a degree, you've rented KPMG. Chief, you are doing the things. What's your status as a young person in South Africa in 2025, especially coming from Youth Month, right? We are literally halfway through the year today, the 182nd day of the year. We're in halfway through the year, just celebrated Youth Month. What's your status? Do you feel like you're an employable person? Because I think now the debate or the conversation is that, and DJ Zintle actually posed this on you remember we had the conversation with a lot of young people in the country are unemployable. Not that employment is a thing, sure.
Issue for sure.
The disparity is there, right? Especially among the races, right? And among the ages and all of this, there's classism that comes into that and all of those things. But a lot of young people are unemployable, right? The lady just spoke, Chief. AI tools, grammatical errors in CVs and all of those things. What does employment look like, right, as a young person for you?
So first, let me answer the question that I prompted you to ask me. So me, I'm unemployed.
Okay.
Me, I'm not an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I'm not a business person. Okay. Right. But I look at my car is outside.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I think the conversation should be. This is my thing. I think we should be fascinated about young people being economically active or economically active. Yeah. Depends what school you went to.
Sure.
High school. Economically active. Young people must be economically active in one way or another. Okay. What we are so fascinated about, and I think that's what you guys are doing here, in fact, quite frankly. We are so fascinated by the idea of entrepreneurship, building a business, registering with CIPC. You know, that requires that, you have access to some extent, right? You have to. But we are not saying to young people, you can be economically active without necessarily being an entrepreneur, being a business person, being an employed person. Someone said to me, success is not something you seek. Success is something you attract. So you have to seek to be a person of value in order to be successful. Right? So you don't chase the girl. but you better yourself so that the girl notices you. Right? And then you are going to spend all of your time chasing the girl without bettering yourself. What am I saying? I'm saying there's so many opportunities that are being opened in our spaces for young people to better themselves. Part of the reason why you guys have me here, it's because somehow when you read about me, it was attractive. Right? So this person is this person does this person does this person does that. And this is what we have to do as young people, as individuals. That's where the self-agency becomes. So if there's something happening, government is there to do whatever, go do that thing. If there's an NGO that gives out food, whatever, parcels, go do that thing. If there's a course that you can do online because you have access, do that thing. So that when you tell people about yourself, you become a person of value, or at least you sort of seem attractive.
Substance.
Right? So that they can give you a chance. A lot of us are going for the girl without nothing.
Yeah.
A lot of us are counting on word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell her. And people
Sweet
look at you like
nothings.
this in an interview and like, no, but there's no substance here.
Yeah, man.
You know, so I feel that a lot of people should try and position themselves in such a way that they're attractive, such that when they get an opportunity, they're able to grab it, but also they're able to create it. Ask me about income. So if you look at my bank statement, not that I don't have money, guys. It's just like, I don't. I will. But if you look at my income statement, there's someone who paid me for emceeing a gig, maybe Saturday. There's someone who paid me because they borrowed a matafula from me. There's someone who paid me because they asked me to do some research for them. There's someone who paid me because I had to do some investigation of something. And I went and I did that. There's someone who paid me. So I mentioned emceeing a wedding or a birthday party. I have that as well. So SARS can come after me and say, hey, we want our money, and I can argue not being employed, but actually I'm economically active. And this is what we need to get a lot of young people to be doing, become economically active. And this means tengi samfethu. This means hambe down, you told us something. Let me qualify this. 1 minute. I'll qualify it in a Bible story. So there's a lady in the Bible, Mshunemigas of some sort, who says to Elisha, Nhlonishwa, my husband has passed away. The taxman has come to collect and is going to take my 2 boys. Elisha says, okay, tell me, what do you have? She says, I don't have anything, but there's some bucket full of oil lapekai. Elisha says, okay, no, fine. Go to your neighbors, borrow as many jars, dishes as you can, as many as you possibly can. When you get home, you must then start filling those jars with that oil and then sell it. There was no prayer from Elisha. There was no.
Because in season, you put your hands on me and pray for me.
What he said was, what do you have? What am I playing at? What's your skill? What's your talent?
What do you have at your disposal?
What's your skill? Resources. What's your skill? What's your talent? I need to add this. Part of the reason why people are graduates and unemployed, it's because a good number of us study something that is not within us. It doesn't add to your talent. Why is it that, I might ask here, is there someone here who studied media, journalism, what?
No.
A lot of people who studied that thing are not doing what you guys are doing because it was not in them. Oh my God.
And I'll tell you, Steve, I've been living, and I think I'm quite a testament of that. You and I have been knowing each other for a long time, and you knew me while I was still in high school, in my last 2-3 years of high school. And I'm sure Kolani, he's also watching out there. I think I'm a testament more. I have been chasing my dream for the longest of time. I told myself, I think I was in grade 9. Grade 10. I was taking my subjects. And I was quite disappointed because I wanted to go learn what I felt was my talent, was my calling, right? And because of the conditioning of the black society, and stuff like that, go do this, that. Okay, I took my subjects, and actually I found that the subjects that I did take were quite fascinating. And I started getting into them and tying them into my passions, right? So I'm a huge advocate of do what you are passionate about. Do what you are good at, and stop this conditioning of somebody so about doctor. And there's nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to aspire to be a CA or whatever else.
For sure.
The conventional
To be a
career
professional,
paths, right? To
sure.
be a professional, like you mentioned. But is it something, because that's how we see, I think, and you might be, concur with this. This is how we see dropouts happening in tertiary.
Sure.
More to first semester gets into this thing and is like, man, sociology is not what I thought it was.
Sure.
What was I doing, Chief?
Sure.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Second semester, the numbers have dropped in terms of the students who are in school. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I think it's a thing that we should also look into as the society. Specifically, I like bringing it back to the black society. Because Gerona, who are taught to work in the middle class, like you mentioned.
They say to you, as long as you are doing something, you
Yeah, also on. Yeah, have a fallback.
I say to young people when they leave matric, if you have to take a gap year, take
it.
year.
Absolutely.
Use that year to get a driver's license or at least learners. Use that year, volunteer in an NGO, and then also to upgrade. Let me say this, equals value, so some of them will see this. Don't upgrade more than 3 subjects. You'll fail. Because you don't have the same kind of support that you had when you were still
in school, actively.
So you're going to lack at least 2, at best 3, but don't go over. A lot of people have upgraded. I don't know the numbers, but I've seen in conversation that a lot of people in the upgrade, their marks drop. What they are not aware of is that you don't have the kind of support that you used to have when you were at school. You went there with 8, but 3. There was something. When you are studying for yourself, then you don't have the same kind of self-discipline. That is why you only choose 2, English and maths, or some other subject that needs to be upgraded. But use this year to literally think about what is it that you want to do, right? Think, and a lot of people in the black families don't want to gap year. No, so that here's the beauty. This is what happens when you take the gap year. You're going to apply AUJ. If it's or UCT, whatever, Stellenbosch, Pretoria.
TUT,
right? So that you're singing out. You're going to apply in April. By August, you would have gotten your acceptance letter.
Oh, wow.
You would have gotten acceptance letter for RES. You would have gotten acceptance letter for NASFAS a little bit, you know. Unlike this rush that you are being
that
put
happens
into,
between November, January.
Now you're going to KZN looking for an accommodation. I was Munda KZN, you know, because it's all happening in a rush. Whereas if you take some time to think about what is it that I want to do, where is it that I want to do it, with whom do I want to do it, then your life, here's the plus. Oh my God. The plus is that you are 1 year older.
And wiser.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Mr. Stay, I know going to this conversation one end here.
Definitely. Very interesting stuff, man.
Very interesting stuff, man. But before we conclude, there are some of the questions for you right there on YouTube. Osvaldo coming through saying, why is the focus not on manufacturing products?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So there are people who are advocating for South Africa to become an industrialized nation, you know. For some reason, I think the economic path that we've chosen sort of favors professionalism. And what I say by that, it's office workers. So we made those decisions when President Thabo Mbeki was still around to say this is the route that we're going to take. So now there's a lot of skills that are lacking in terms of people who can do work with their hands. So those gaps are open. So you find that we import a lot of things that we should be making in the country. A lot of factories were closed when we took over the country, and I think it was a mistake that the government made. So if you check out the ITC, and I employ a lot of people to check out the ITC, there are opportunities for to be funded for industrialization. But obviously, once you start talking to the ITC, you have to know your story. But it starts with becoming a person of value, becoming an attractive person. But eventually, so there is a bit of focus around that. But I agree with the fact that we lagged for the longest time in favor of the other, and we realize that it's not sustainable.
But now, Mo, we're seeing a shift, man, and I think this is a conversation we had with TC as well, and with Ubanele a little earlier in the year, is that we're seeing a shift in terms of young people being employed. And I think it also goes back to what you mentioned about yourself, that you are actively economically active, but not employed necessarily. Now we're seeing young people moving into a space of the gig economy.
Sure.
Because this is the gig economy, what you're talking about, referring to that, having multiple streams of income, Monday to Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, weekend, so why is it that that shift is happening, especially with young people specifically? We're moving into a space of gig economy as opposed to 9 to 5 conventional employment?
Because the promise is no longer holding. Ask me what promise? The promise of education. The promise of education was that study,
you
work
get a
hard,
job.
then you'll get a job.
key to success.
And then we realized that the promise is no longer holding. That is why people are becoming creative. And it's important that we become creative. This is how we move ourselves forward. But the promise, I can tell you, there's so much disappointment in the hood that the promise of education did not live up to what it promised.
Being a key to success. Yeah. I see you. Very interesting.
Mr. Stay. And Mavuga Matle, and I see that people don't want this conversation to end because they're like, hey man, please come back. Before this shy, let us go through some of the last comments before we close in. And then Matisi, going back to what Musi said and say, Batung Musi Mara, the borehole is in Kimberley.
Big hole.
The big hole.
Yeah, is in
that's in the
Kimberley.
Northern Cape. The R, quite a significant little place, is in the Northern Cape.
The R,
right? And then Zinzi comes through and say, being economically active and empowered translate to Vuka Uzenzele. Don't wait for an opportunity to create one yourself. And then Zakani says, hands down to this topic is fire and captivating. Stay, please come back. And then TC says, I wanted a gap year, ended up in corporate as a receptionist. By the end of that era, I was handling foreign accounts and local accounts in a huge global company. Now I'm at Vuga, giving a dose of positivity.
Shout out TC.
And then she also comes back and say, big ups to Stay for the convo. And then Vanilla says, Stay, how did he work on himself to become a person of value and attractive?
Whenever there was an advert that young people I wanted, I went. I went.
Okay.
Didn't matter.
I went.
Don't hesitate.
But it was mostly, like I said, the personal concept project where we grew up. You know, because they exposed us, man. We need people in our community who care about young people, who sort of establish themselves in such a way that they are self-sufficient. What I say, so they're not employed. So they start organizations, abanye ba run soccer teams. Those people are so important, yet we don't speak about them enough. Abantu who are running things, these are the people who give us an alternative sort of path. They make us see things that we were not able to see. So you become a part of that, and then you meet. Who's this guy who's a producer like America? Quincy Jones?
Yes.
I met Quincy Jones.
Wow.
I met Ryan Giggs.
Wow.
Captain in Manchester.
Come on, man.
At some point, it was the ambassador in America that we met. I can remember a couple of people that we met through being part of the organization.
Of those organizations, wow.
You know, someone said, if I see further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. And those people who start this community
organizations and projects.
Those are the giants.
Giants of the city. And then Vanilla comes to saying, what does the day to day activities look like, especially when no one is looking for you?
Sitting and thinking. Okay, now we're going to rob Smangman.
Being a carolist.
Let me write him an email.
Being a carolist.
Let me write him an email and then let's see. So I'm fishing the entire time. I spend most of my time just fishing. I heard you say from Monday to Tuesday I do this. And then from Tuesday. No, for me sometimes it's all in one day. So you see, I'm going to take off this suit. So I send to go overall by the time Ilang Sean. So day to day, I'm on my PC. If I'm not, I'm still an active member of Personal Concept Project. So we started holiday program, MDN Library. So I'm going to be teaching. So I'll be teaching later on today, facilitating life skills and leadership development skills. It's a melting pot of trying to be attractive.
Man. Then Zinzi come through saying, indeed, TC, big ups to Stay, hopes he comes back. And then TC says, atomic habits for success.
Absolutely.
At Manele. And let us know, Stay. Okay, atomic habits for success?
Well, I want to squeeze this in and answer that question. I had someone say, if you can't walk behind the couches where you stay, then you have no business sleeping. That is my atomic habit. Don't sleep. Don't sleep. If you cannot walk
behind the couches
where you stay, then you have no business sleeping. So that's the atomic habit. Don't sleep.
You know, there's this saying, and it fits to what he's saying more. Years ago, I heard this, and I was still in high school, I think, or just outside of high school, like a year or two after completing high school, and the person said, when you're not employed, your job is to find employment. When you are not employed, your job is to go out and find or make employment for yourself, Chief.
I know.
Yeah.
I've heard that, and I know the context in which that was said.
Yeah.
And my little twist to it: when you are not employed, your job is to work on yourself.
Yeah.
Your job is to work on yourself. It's the simple things: wake up early, go to gym, pray, and read.
Yeah.
Those three things. So to the atomic habits, wake up early, go to gym, pray, and read. If you keep doing those things continuously, I tell you, at some point you are going to speak to someone and say, are you aware that there's something called Stroman Fellas?
Hey.
And they say, hey, come here, what are you talking about? What you heard about that?
Man,
right?
Very cool stuff.
And then lastly from Pumlalanga, saying young people need to invest in themselves through consumption of information.
Definitely. Definitely.
Shout out to Pumla. Pumla is a personal person.
Hey, come on, man. I see you. I see you, Mr. Young people need to invest in themselves through consumption
of information.
That's what it is.
Definitely.
That's what it is.
And it's like the consumption of information creates transformation.
Hey.
You understand?
There's one you missed, by Osvaldo, I think. He says, why is focus not on manufacturing products?
Oh, yeah, so we've already touched on that. And
did we? Okay.
Yeah, but man, Mr. T, I think that is where the conversation is going to end. And of course, Youth Month was the mirror, and July must be the movement.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? A big thanks to you, man, for spending some time with us. Yeah.
We appreciate Mr. T. And I think, Mr. B, we've been toying around with an idea of extended conversations here on the Vooka Breakfast Show with the various and an array of segments that we have here. Because on a day-to-day basis, the conversations are very different.
Yeah.
You know, what we talk about on a Monday is completely different to what we talk about on a Tuesday, you know. So we're trying to have extended conversations because we've realized that between the hours of 7 and 10 is not enough time. And like people, it's evident, the proof is in the pudding. People want this information, this knowledge, these nuggets of and pieces of information that industry professionals like yourselves have and have acquired over some time. And this is the point of the Vooka Breakfast Show, to have all-encompassing, compelling, and thought-provoking conversations. Aimed at giving so much information and knowledge. And maybe as we try to implement extended conversations, you might be one of the people that we bring back, man. Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm attractive.
Yeah.
But I had to say that.
Yeah.
But I say that to make the point. Be attractive.
Be attractive.
Thank you so much.
Be someone of value and substance.
Thank you
man.
so much.
Yeah, no, we appreciate. This is what we do right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show on a day-to-day basis, bringing you great and amazing people who are doing amazing stuff in and around our communities. And today is no exception whatsoever. Hanging out and spending some quality time with the one and only Thembiso Njingi, the catalyst. A leadership strategist, someone who's trying to develop the community and putting in the work and trying to make better where you and I come from in and around our different communities. And so we hope that you got a bit of knowledge and information and a piece of history like we've learned in this conversation. And so you can also share your thoughts, your opinions, and everything else in between by using the hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show. So that's Vooka Breakfast Show on Facebook and all other social media platforms. But it also needs not end there. You can also share and interact with us on our WhatsApp number using the number 060-493-3226. That's 060-493-3226. Comment, like, subscribe. Do the things that are necessary to be done so that you and I and the rest of the team and Uste can share our thoughts, our opinions, and everything else in between. Yes, sir, Mr. Mo.
Yeah, let's choose growth. Let's choose vision. This is Tuesday, and your next move matters. Till we see each other tomorrow, Wednesday morning from 7 a.m. up until 10 a.m. My name is Mokiti Memaniki. Max for maximum temperature. I am the son of Mother Nature, and you know, I was
generator. Yes, sir.
Sayonara.
Yeah, man. And for myself, the one and only MOOCEE. My name is Musi Mist, and I was so happy to have been in both your company and in your presence on this lovely Tuesday morning, the 1st of July, 2025. Exactly halfway through the year, and it is another 6 months until we hit the end of the year, and we're actually so close to our 100th episode. Today we're celebrating our 93rd. Wow. We're celebrating our 93rd episode,
Well
and
done, guys. Well
in
done.
a week and 2 days time, which is next week week, Thursday, we're going to be celebrating 100 episodes of the Vooka Breakfast Show.
I want to be
Yeah, man. Man, very cool stuff. And all of this is brought to you by the Blinko Network. But like Mo said, bright and early tomorrow morning, same time, same place, where we share our thoughts and our opinions from only and exclusively on the Vooka Breakfast Show from Top Center, right next to Zondi Hills, just before you get to Bromfisher Kloof. With that being said, stay safe, stay warm, stay cautious on those roads, and we'll see each other tomorrow morning. Cool stuff.
Honey, I got what you want. Give me all of your love, 'cause it's burning hot. It's what you do to me,